Is this thing broadcasting? Okay, I think we're broadcasting. All right. Hello, guys. We're live. Shiloh Massive. Pardon the Dank. On 10/16/2022. What's going on?
Just chilling back and pardoning the dank. Tuning in for the first time.
Right on. So yeah, I guess we'll just go with the question thing. You can tell people who you are and a little about yourself. And a lot of people have never heard of Massive Creations, or I mean, a lot of people have heard of Dying Breed, but they really haven't heard of Massive Creations. So
Shiloh Massive Creations. As you mentioned, one of the other things that I did was Dying Breed seeds, and that was a good run. That was a great era of cannabis, in my opinion, one of the greatest eras. It was a great run for a company. No longer, we separated because whatever reasons, and Massive Creations has just come from the ashes of me losing touch with that side and just doing my own thing.
Some of the same strains, right? They've just been renamed like Boreas.
There's a few of them. Not really. The Boreas is, that was one that was just in the transition. So those, we've strayed away from, a lot of that, but they were based on a lot of the work that we put in together for sure.
Were you part of the Watermelon Skittles?
Yeah, definitely.
So the Zum Watermelon Zum and to the Eddie, that Eddie, I bought several packs of that actually, and found some really nice hard rock candy kind of watermelon rind, watermelon terps with some fuel on it back end. It was really delicious, and they were like the first drops that Neptune had. I got those.
That shit was fire. That was a great era for cannabis. Zum was a powerful strain on its own. With the Sour Eddie was a staple in that day. That was one of the males from the stable, and the Watermelon Skittles to this day is renowned, world renowned strain for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the best. I mean, you even got people making fake terp pre-rolls, calling it Watermelon Skittles, trying to mimic that taste. It's so good.
Right.
Same with the peach rings. I've seen some fake, those terpene companies, they sell these,
What is it?
There's some terpene. I said there's some terpene companies that sell like pre-made concoctions of very popular strains, and peach rings is one of those, as well as Watermelon Skittles. I'm like, there's a bunch of companies, not to name them, but their people are putting these things in their pre-rolls to make their whatever random weed taste like good weed. It's sort of a strange phenomenon that we're in now.
Right. This is in California, like
Jeter's.
Oh yeah, okay. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's a pre-roll, popular pre-roll in the 64 market. They got peach rings and Watermelon Skittles. Watermelon Skittles is like their number one selling pre-roll, and it's not even it's artificial terps to make it, but it's cool.
Of all those things, Watermelon Skittles, it's a giant plant. Zum originally we were calling it the Zuzu, and then we called it the Zum. Then we crossed it with that, and world renowned. I know guys in Molokai that are still growing it. Barcelona. I'm sure it's been renamed a bunch of times, but like I said, from that era, cannabis, so many companies were born out of that, and looking back at Dying Breed, it's like it was a great run. We did a lot, and unfortunately,
when you guys made Eddie, was it like in honor of Eddie Lepp, or what? How did that come about?
Well, yeah. So, geez, it must have been. It was like in the late '90s. I moved back to California. I was out in Wyoming for a while, and somehow I moved down the street from old Eddie Lab, and it was. I was like, oh man, got to get my medical weed, California. We got to get that. And in the paper, it was like, oh, get your 215 or whatever. And I was like down the road, and it was like, okay, I called this guy. I set up a meeting, and it was Eddie Lepp. I didn't expect it to be like that when I drove there, because I was like, okay, this is medical weed. There's got to be like a doctor, or like there's something involved. I put my nice shirt on or whatever, and
Yeah.
I drove up. I drove up to a spot, and then there's this big fucking sign at the bottom of the chain, and then you go up this dirt road, and you're coming around the bend, and then like there's a big ass field of weed just right there. And then the house is up there. And I'm like, well, shit, I hope I'm in the right motherfucking place. Cause you don't want to be, this is it. And that's a lot of weed. And you don't want to be driving up to a place that you're not supposed to be at. Right. So I'm like, well,
Yeah.
shit. So I get up. I didn't know what I was expecting. I sure wasn't expecting Eddie Lepp and to meet a guy that, my life would be intertwined with for, a long time. And yeah, so I I did that, and I convinced Eddie, oh, weeds my whole life. I know this and that. And I started going back. Like I said, I was right down the road, and I started as a yellow leaf merchant, and then, moved up because, I definitely, my life was at that point all about weed, and started meeting some people in California. Cause like I said, I had just moved back from, Wyoming, and I was like, oh, this place is close to Mendocino County. That's where the heart of it all. You could grow 25. I'm like, it's got to be great. It's right there. And literally, I knew nothing about Lake County, California, and I don't know if you do either, but it's a different kind of world. But that's where I met old Eddie Lepp, and eventually, I was, I lived there, and for quite some time, Jack lived there, and a lot of characters, and it was a wild experience. And
Was that
I
big
guess,
farm that he had? That giant, was
yeah,
that
we
massive
planted all that, me, and then, that's where I met the Dally Duke was out there, and Cushman came from New York. He touched in there,
Brett Bogue,
that's
right?
right. What's that?
Brett Bogue was there?
Oh, Brett Bogue, yeah. So Brett Bogue, I met Brett Bogue at church, like back in like maybe first, second grade or something. And yeah, that was a wild ride pre leading up to that. I remember the first time I took Brett came down, and I took him to Eddie's, and he went mental. He's like, that dude's crazy. Da, da, da. And I was like, this is the last time I ever talked to that motherfucker, because I was like, you're a fucking lunatic, motherfucker. I took him to the airport, dropped that bitch house off, and never talked to him since then. You know, but yeah, we had a wild ride. We were some of the first out there. Moved to Amsterdam, started that with old fucking crazy bald head, crispy Kreme. Um, yeah. And so
Some funny
Brett came
shit.
into the Eddie thing later. And
So
then
yeah,
at
so you
more
guys,
like not at the 130 plant level, more at the 1,000 plant level, where there's already momentum and all this stuff. And then, yeah, it's going to be a Netflix series. There's a guy, he was filming it all, Jason Dunlap. You could follow him on Instagram, but he's got so much footage. It's gonna be crazy to see. Probably like look like the Tiger King of weed that era.
yeah.
Because
I
then he
mean,
went
there's a
from this
lot of
like
big.
simple dude, trailer to like the king of weed, wearing smoky jackets, like almost swinger party type of like craziness. But it was a glorious era in Northern California, and he was on a mission. He was on a mission to get heard. He was on a mission to get busted. He was on a mission to do stuff that no one had ever done, and he convinced us all we were in the right. And you know, no one really got in too much trouble for that besides himself. He pretty much took it all. But yeah, we grew 40,000 plants, and I forget what year. It was right next to the highway. It was a wild ride.
That's crazy. Yeah. When was the first time you remember strains having names? Like
let's think about
when it
that.
went from
So
like just having good
it was
green
usually
bud to
just
having
like,
something with a name.
yeah, it was killer green bud. And then I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, so it was a mecca for indoor growing. And the first ones, you heard about the Northern Lights because that's the Northwest for
Mhm.
sure, and some of the names that Neville had. But from my neck of the woods, like the Pez was a legendary strain from the Northwest. It would take the elements and you could actually grow it outside. And we'd burrow into big ass blackberry patches, hollow them out, and get the plants in there. And it was one of the only plants that would survive the winter and just like had a smell like no other. And then another one this is in the 80s. The goo. The goo was another one in the 80s.
Oh, the goo
The
for
lower
sure.
Key
Yeah.
Peninsula, Captain Larry, the original goo from the Northwest. That's one I miss the most. And in that era, there was just, some names like Redheaded Stepchild. You'd have some land races popping in like the Chitral. And, I don't think it was really till you really start seeing the names from reading High Times and stuff. And those names start
Did
catching
you
on
come
in the
across the
lingo and the
UW?
people that you meet. The
Did
UW
you
for
run across
sure.
the UW?
I actually got some
UW?
I actually got some crosses of the UW for sure.
Really?
The UW, bro.
Nice.
You're a fucking G for
Yeah, see,
sure. That was
I'm from
fire.
Seattle too. I grew up in Seattle, and UW was, a lot of UW, a lot of hash plant. There's a lot of different BC bud that had, later the
G13.
sharp
Yeah,
shot
that's what I
started
was gonna
coming
get into
down. G13.
the whole BC thing, pre-beasters like Texada, Time Warp, and all the Vancouver Island weed. There was that's when the names really started coming in too. When you
Yeah.
started dealing with Mark Emery and the bank up there, because I grew up in Gig Harbor, Washington.
Oh, damn. Yeah, you weren't that
So
far
yeah,
away from me. I
you
mean,
get these crazy. No, that's like
I was
45
in,
minutes back in the day,
yeah, I was all over pretty
bro.
much
We had
North Seattle,
fire back
Linwood. Yeah, there was
Nice,
fire. I
nice.
mean, people don't understand, like the Northwest, like we never had like Mexi bud. That didn't exist. That was like down south
Never,
thing,
never
you know?
ever seen it until I moved to San Jose to go to college. And I
Yeah, it's
seen
like,
pictures of it and shit. What is that,
yeah,
dude?
and you hear
We'd have
stories
weed that
about it.
kids. We'd
But
call it
yeah, I
like the
remember
light
I took
green fluffy.
yeah, I
That shit
remember
was just
taking
the
like a
weed
trip
from back
to
then was
Colorado. I took this trip to Colorado
yeah.
probably late 90s, and I had a friend, and he got some weed, and he called it Pretendo, and it was like Mexi weed with no
Pretend to
seeds.
cut.
Yeah, but it was like, man, this wasn't.
Right.
I was like, it tasted like dirt. It was like, I was like, by the time
That's
you took
right.
out, it didn't have the seeds, but it had a lot of stems. It's like by the time you took it out, you had like maybe a quarter ounce out of an ounce. It's like this shit was terrible. But yeah, that's what they had
Yeah,
back
bro.
there, I
Back
guess.
in the day,
And then legalization
it
changed
was
everything. Now
fire.
everybody's got the same shit everywhere now, you know.
Yeah, we're
But
at
yeah,
we're at that bottleneck where if people don't start doing proper breeding with their stuff, we're at that bottleneck where it's just like, look, we at the turn of the century, we lost I was reading about the other day, almost 80% of heirloom vegetables and the seeds that used to exist, in small gardens and stuff, all kinds of different tomatoes and stuff. We've lost the majority of that stuff. Yeah, whoever seed banking that has it, but the same thing's happening to weed. It's all became kind of the same looking thing. And look at the testing, the majority terps lie in the dessert terp zone. So they created almost a homogenous product that all the great genetic differences of cannabis have started to disappear. And
yeah, yeah,
people are always like, oh, back in my day, the weed was so much better and da 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 da. These pure varieties have been lost, and it's just became like John Trudell told me one time, and I always go back to the story. John Trudell told me we're chilling at his house, and he said the tobacco was once a medicine, a super powerful psychedelic medicine, and they used it in a medicine way, and it had been stripped down to it was light leaf, like light leaf. It had the light, it gave you the energy, and then it's been stripped down to a dark leaf where all those magical qualities of the tobacco had been taken away, but people still needed it, people still wanted it. But you know what I'm saying? So the same kind of things happening with weed, is that
Yeah.
that magic's being stripped away. Yeah, you still make killer extracts or this or that, but bro, for being a smoker for so many years, dude, a lot of people need to change their game and start working their lines and saving things and creating new solid lines instead of the super swimming in today's market.
Yeah, I feel like we got 15 strains, and they've been basically they all got the same three terps. They're all, myrcene and caryophyllene dominant. And you just shuffle the terps around, but it's the same genetic pool, right? The pool is too small. You need to introduce new stuff like some land races, but people don't want to, that's the other thing,
Right.
is people don't want to work lines and take time to work lines because it actually takes time, and they want
Or
to
there's
they want to be the
longer
superhero
flowering, and they're
tomorrow.
like, yeah, they don't want to take the time. They're like, oh, it takes longer to flower. Some of these longer flowering strains get so beastly, they don't need veg time. So you could throw a haze in as a clone. You don't need the veg time. So
Yeah,
you're balancing out time. But yeah, a lot of the longer flowering strains have got lost that had different terps and different compounds. And I'm not convinced to this day that THC is what gets us high. I think they got the science wrong, because every day they got a new strain. It's 30%, it's this percent, and it doesn't get you any higher than these ones that are 18, 20%. So there's something going on in their testing, that something else in weed gets you high besides THC. Because if from
yeah,
being smoking
definitely.
so long, you go up that high and it doesn't even, it gets you less high. It gets you pissed off because you didn't get high. So we need to get some smart new people involved in the cannabis science, and tell us what's really going on in there, because
And
the
I,
surface is
and I think the
barely.
testing, I think some of the testing thing is not necessarily honest, because you think about it, like we used to smoke these strains in the 90s that were 14, 15%. You get so high, you forget the lighter, the pipe's in your lap, you stand up, break.
You
How many
couldn't
pipes
get
did
the
you break,
lighter to
right?
the pipe.
You
You're
don't
like
remember where
stuck.
the fucking you want a cookie, but you don't remember where the fucking refrigerator is. You're so fucking
Yeah,
high. And now you
yeah,
smoke a 30% ice cream cake, and you want to smoke a puff at 5 minutes later because you're not high. It's like
right.
what's going on? You know, it's something
Yeah, we need the
something.
scientists to tell us what's going on there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I think they definitely need more study, and not by I don't know, not by I think the rec market is like everybody's looking at the numbers. All they're looking at is THC number. They don't care about anything else, and it's just there's not enough education there on like
yeah,
you said, on what actually makes you high. It's definitely an entourage effect. It's a little bit of all those things. THC, the terpenes, the other cannabinoids, the other stuff that's in there. But
I was having a
yeah, it's
conversation with
cool.
my plant biologist homie the other day, and he was telling me, I forget which one it was, but if you tweaked THC 7 or something, I don't know what it's called. If you just changed it like 1%, like most people couldn't even smoke this weed. So there's people out there that know more, and definitely needs to be explored, because yeah, there's the magic's being lost. We're still stripping away the magic, and we're left with one card trick. Pull
And
the
then they're
rabbit out of the
doing
hat, and you get.
yeah, yeah. They're doing this other shit now I've seen with this like Delta 8 where they're turning it into Delta 10 and THCO and THCP. And they're saying that I think it's THCP. They say it's 30 times as potent as Delta 9. I don't understand that,
Yeah, I
but it's
see all
like 50
the
state legal.
eight companies. Yeah, see, these dudes are doing these guys are figuring it out, and they're not telling you that. You know what I mean? They're not saying, "Hey, we figured it out. This
Yeah.
is much too high."
No, they're
It's
gonna patent
THC
that shit.
and
They're
8,
gonna patent it.
not Delta 9. Delta 9, you had some stupid scientists that didn't know, and you only did a couple tests anyway. So these guys on the periphery of the THC movement that are working outside the 64 and all these things are the guys that are actually figuring out what's getting you fucking high. Because these dudes on
Yeah.
these some of those Delta 8 gummies, and they're high as fuck.
Yeah.
I seen
Yeah.
them, bro. I don't want to even eat that shit.
Yeah, it's true. Getting a dab, doing a dab here. Uh, so, let's see. We go on this questions. So what's your favorite strain that you have created so far to this day that you like to smoke yourself?
You know, that's really why I fell in love with the whole thing of the ad, and I was trying to find the Russian Kush and just have a plethora of seeds that displayed the genetics of the original Russian Kush plant that I got from Russian Danny. He does a podcast. It's all bad. You should check it out. It's all Hollywood drug stories. But yeah, so there's these Russians, and basically the way I understand it in LA, the Russians and the Mexicans ran the Kush, and then these guys had it and those guys had it. But somehow my buddy, he's younger than me, he got there was like 4 or 5 seeds of this Kush from the guy. I'm going to say his name. Maybe I shouldn't even say his name, but anyway, if you know, you know. And the guy was the guy at the time, so it was his personal Kush. And so these seeds were crazy, bro. They looked like spearheads. They didn't even look like cannabis seeds. They look different than
Yeah.
any fucking seed I've ever seen to this day in my life, bro. And I kept them for a while and stuff, and then I gave some to my boy John, and then Nate Heights, he got some, by the way, from him, and he hit it with one of his Silvertooth, because he lived down the hill on the same mountain that I lived in, and it was like, okay, this is a day you're just brushing a little pollen and getting a few seeds and stuff. So he came back and gave me some of those original seeds, and if you understand like breeding and stuff, theoretically, like the what you're looking for, that plant that I was looking for is locked in those seeds. So if I keep breeding those original seeds, somehow the original mom, the original father, the expressions of those, and all the combinations in between show up. So if you
Did
look
you
hard
open
enough, you'll
populate
find
with
what
what
you're
you
looking
had?
for. What's that?
You just usually, if you have like one cultivar, say you have a pack, a strain, and it's the last pack of that
Yeah,
seeds. You have 10 of them, right?
yeah,
And you want
yeah.
to save that strain. And you would
Right.
open pollinate all 10, right? So you get the most alleles from that genetic
Then,
pool.
but you would also want to
And then
keep all 10 separate and label them as that which
and
one
label them.
was. So,
Yeah, and label
but
them,
yeah,
obviously, yeah.
definitely want to open it. And so that
And then in
that
the
strain
F2,
I
and
really
then
love.
F2, and then once you make those, hunt those and look in the F2 for what you're looking for, right? Because you're going to see recessive
Right.
traits in the F2 once you open
You're
it
gonna,
up.
yeah, if you look enough, and that was the time, is like that's all I wanted to do is have more seeds of that, because that, besides, there's other strains in my life. Like I said, the goo was amazing. Um, AJ Sour Diesel to this day was one of my favorite fucking strains, and I did a lot of early work with those, the that and the Star Dog and stuff, but I never really released it because that was their shit, and I'm like, oh, here's my fucking diesel crosses, because
Yeah,
back when I first got into it, like there's more ethics and stuff, and no one was really interested in F1 crosses. It's like, okay, you made your cross, you got to work it. And I remember, in the early Dying Breed days, some of the OGs were at that time giving me shit like, how's those F1s doing for you? Selling those F1s like it was a bad thing,
yeah, yeah.
because
They
it was
hated
like,
on you if you
so
didn't make if you didn't work and if you didn't make your own mail. They pretty much everybody hated on you
yeah.
at that time.
So and before the ad night, is about exactly what you said, making mails. And one of the power mails that I made before that became part of the OG Eddie upline was the Afghani #1 Northern Lights Pakistani, and that was just made so many strains with that one. That was a big power hitter. But the Russian Kush to this day is one of my favorite fucking weeds. And then that turned into the Adonai, and then Higher Heights. He took it on his way, and he's got some amazing strains that he made from the same original seeds and more his green tea line. And it's just is a mighty. It was one of the last great strains that the Adonai and the crosses that came off of that. Definitely to this day.
And then how did GAC come about? Was that
Well, fuck the GAC. There's I keep hearing these stories, the G13, AK-47 or something, but this is the story of the GAC. I know. Yeah. Story time.
Story time.
So we had Dying Breed. We were still together. We were, and then there's all these people in the periphery, and one of them is Mac, and he started Hella Seed Company. So before he did that, he had found some seeds at his house. I don't know. This is my understanding. They were either his dad's or his uncle's, and they were old seeds. So he gave them to Brandon. Brandon started them. They were fire. Called it the GAC. I don't really know even who fucking named the GAC. But then, so we made a lot of the original crosses in Dying Breed. And then, he was working for us and eventually started his own seed company with, that was the strain that is his family strain somehow. So that's what I know. Nobody really knows the parentage of that, from my understanding. You heard it here first. And I've said it before,
there was fuck, I can't remember now. There was a GAC cross that was going around in LA for a little while, but too high to remember what the fucking name of it was. Purple something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a bunch. So now there's a GAC crosses. He made a bunch. I've got a bunch. Dying Breed has a bunch. Other people now have a bunch because they came out and they got the seeds. You know how it goes. Once you drop the seeds, then there's a bunch of people that made their own shit too. So it's a great strain. It dumps hash. Yeah, it's definitely a great strain.
You guys did some CBD stuff too, right?
Myself?
Yeah.
I kind of just went out to some fields that my homie was doing and filmed shit. And I did some selections of some CBD strains up in Oregon that my homie crossed THC strains with CBD strains. So we did go up there and see some CBD seed fields.
Yeah. So there was a release. There were some releases that were labeled Breeders Reserve, and
in a DB
gas station Bob, the very first release was one of those, and I bought some of that. Mm-hmm. Now, Breeders Reserve, is that like? Do I have the right interpretation that was like, hey, if you guys want to work this, guys cross this?
I think, just arbitrarily based on quality, intrinsic idea of the quality of it was put in the categories for what could be in a different tier. That's how that worked. There was just kind of like, this is that, you know what I mean? These are super fire. They're going to be in the super fire one. These ones are sub super fire. They're going to be, and then these ones are pretty good. So they're at the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what was the gas station Bob cross? It was the OZ cross or
gas pedal to OG Eddie.
Oh yeah. So the gas pedal, fucking that's the gas pedal is the adenine that Afghani One Northern Lights Packy Mail Cross gas pedal. Boom. I still have a bunch of those. And then what was the other side of it? Oh, then it was then there was a cut, the Eddie cut, the fire Eddie.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it makes them really. I think it's kind of like it's kind of like a better Kim 4 to me. It's kind of how
Oh,
I kind of think of it.
right,
But
right.
but yeah, and it usually like you cross it to a lot. I
That,
crossed it to a bunch of
bro,
shit,
that's dude, yeah, it is exactly a Kim 4. It fucking better Kim 4.
and I crossed
Definitely.
it to a bunch of shit, and it always brings purple to the shit, even
Huh.
though it didn't have a lot of purple in itself.
Right, right. That's interesting. I saw that this
Yeah,
year with the sour. I'm working the sour apple melon line, and then the F2s stay green while the F1s are not purple but purple tinged.
purple tins. Yeah,
You know, and it's
that's
like
interesting. How like some things will skip a
even
generation.
even letting them go in the cold, there's no purple at all. I like that. I want silver. I want that. I never, bro. We used to throw the purple weed away, bro. We used to like in the Northwest, it was like all green bud, bro. You didn't get served no purple weed. You were mad if you got some premature weird purple weed. The first time when I moved and I met Dallas, Dallas had the grape ape, and that was one
Yeah,
mighty fucking purple strain. But I still to this day don't love the terps, and it doesn't get you super high. And we argue all the time. He'd be like, "Oh, your weed smells like soap and incense," and I'm like,
yeah.
"Fuck, I don't
That's
like the
where
purple."
Brett gives praise to Dallas for the grape ape because I guess when
Well,
he got it, it was
I mean,
clone
dude,
only, right?
the, and Philo Phil, it goes back, and then there's a dude. Philo Phil had a partner. Philo Phil's wife. They made a strain. Okay, it's Philo Phil's the legend. Dally D, he came in, and this is pre-turkey bag, brown paper bag. You get a 500 gram pound. Yeah, Dally D brought it into existence because the other dude's just an old codger, and no one really gonna meet the dude. But fucking Dally D brought it in 100%. We all brought it to Amsterdam. What was that? 2000 something. Won a cup with it, but old ballhead never gave up the
How the
trophy to
fuck? How'd
anyone.
you get it? How the hell did you get it to Amsterdam in 2007? Fuck, that must have been a
No, it
story in
was
itself.
before. It was like 2002 or something, or 2000. I don't know what it was, but we mailed that shit.
Oh, you mailed it. Oh, nice. That's great. The So how did the Bob come about? I guess I mean I read the story that this
Okay,
guy
so
found the rosé, and then you guys named it after him and or something. I don't know.
there's so many stories and stuff. The way I understand the rosé is a whole different story. We don't have to touch on these; they'll hurt people's feelings and stuff. So, uh,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, I don't want to hurt anybody's
legend
feelings.
has it the dude that had the Z cut originally was named Gas Station Bob. His name was Bob. He owned a
Yeah.
gas station, and so it was that the cross was just there was a lot of shots fired back and forth in the old days, and that was one of them. It's like it just kind of like dogs lifting their legs and claiming shit. Gas, so that's where it got named after him.
But
So
okay.
good, ask away,
That's
bro.
cool. And then you got you did the NFT thing where I saw the kitty cats. Um,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
still
what, maybe
touching in on
two
that.
years ago. You're pretty early on that. Maybe
Yeah,
2 years ago.
yeah. I mean, it was the NFT
And
thing.
then
It was exciting. There was a lot of money. I made some money in there, and then crypto, everything kind of slowed. There's still some interest. I still got my cool little gutter cats. Shout out to the gutter cat gang,
yeah, they're
and
cool looking.
they're still worth a
Did
little bit of
you
money. I just keep my eye on it still. It was an exciting time of technology and finance and yeah, people are still using that for ticketing and there's still communities. There's still money being made
I
daily.
think I think it has a place. And I think it will have another spike. It'll grow again as more people learn what the hell it was. A lot of
Well,
people didn't
yeah, the
understand
government
what it
will
was.
release their the government will release their crypto to break it off again, and then they'll control it like they do everything.
I tried to do it, and the thing was like I ran into these like gas fee things where like it was an exorbitant amount to basically get one thing turned into a picture or what turned into an
Yeah, towards
NFT.
the end, like, it got crazy, and depending is like gas is cheap when the normies sleep, so you'd have to lurk, and there's like some predictions of when gas is going to be cheap because yeah, 1 second it's going to be like 120 fucking bucks, and then 1 second it could be $4.25. So that's a
Yeah,
lot of you gotta be on that shit all the time. Uh, Looking at multiple things at once. It's really consuming of your time to when I was trading
like watching
NFTs to
stock almost, like
it's
watching
exactly like
stock and
watching
then
stock. Bro, it's just like,
yeah,
dude, and then it's like you fucking got something and then you missed this and then what the fuck it's worth $10 or some shit
you're like I
or
got to
you
mint
got
these
something
things
for
right now.
or you got something for free and you came up 9,500 and you're just like, damn, dude, I'm fucking selling digital crack pictures and stuff. And yeah, we'll see what happens with NFTs. I love it. I got some offers on some NFTs. I made some NFTs. That was really got me into NFTs is that I made some because I was like, oh, this dude just sold this for fucking all this money, and I heard all this stuff. So I was like, I figured out how to make NFTs early on in the game, which for a guy with my computer skills is pretty cool. So pretty hard to do, but I did it, and I never sold one.
No, but that's cool though, you know. So you're gonna do. So are you doing? Cause like I don't know. For a second there, it looked like you're gonna retire from the scene and go to NFTs, or are you gonna still continue to do some breeding? Or
Thought I was getting rich, bro. We all thought we're like, dude, we're getting rich tomorrow. Fucking apes, da da da. But
yeah,
it didn't happen,
but it ain't even.
man. A lot of people,
They fucked up. They fucked up 2 with the 64, and then yeah,
yeah,
crypto's kind of fucking took a dive in the last year.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've still been breeding. I've just, like I said, I've been working more lines and just trying to fuck. It's like all the shit I made for so many years, and then it's like, oh, when I pull into the library, people are like, oh, that's the Dying Breed shit. Well, fuck, motherfuckers, I made that shit. Shut the fuck up. So like it takes a little time to separate myself away from that, and then boom, get into the GAC thing, then get in the GAC war start. So it's just like the battle of the turf wars. So I've just been just steadily sharpening my iron on some stuff and ran a lot of testers and stuff that's different, different terps, different styles of
Have
plants,
you
different projects.
are what's your feeling on chocolate terps, and have you seen any chocolate terps lately?
No,
Or
I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm gonna make a reel out of it because we took a bunch of pictures. But so I had some seeds get soaked, and I took them outside to kind of clean them and stuff and dry them out and stuff. So I know that I spilled a bunch of these seeds out there in the gravel, and this plant came up, and it was just a little sprout soldier, and we just gave it hose water occasionally, and it grew up into a big plant, and then like started growing the craziest like fucking terps on the buds, and then like it started turning pure black. I should post some pictures of it, but it turned pure black, and then you smoke it, it's like a chocolate melon. It's like total chocolate terps. And
like what
this one
chocolate
is
should
the
be?
black pineapple haze itself has some chocolate leaning terps, but it's a black pineapple haze crossed with the grape karma, which is the grape gack and karma sour diesel. So it's a pretty fucking monolithic strain. And I didn't get to test it because I'm limited. My neighbors been calling the county on me for everything I do, but
That's
chocolate
fucked
terps
up.
all day. Yeah, I had to tear
Chocolate
my
terps.
screen. But yeah, I believe in chocolate terps, and they're it's another thing, like, sort of pineapple terps, and they don't really
Yeah, pineapple
super
you
deep,
don't see much anymore either. Like they
but they
pineapple
make.
terps were really popular in like 2002 to maybe 2005. You know,
That's why I made
like you
some of
don't
those pineapple crosses, because my wife's favorite terp is that osamine, the pineapple terp. So I was like, I want to make some seeds so you have your favorite weed too. So the got to give
like
props to Derek, the guy, the original, yeah, the In the Pines guy, because I use the In the Pines from the legend Derek from Mendo, and some cool crosses came out of that. That's where the Black Pineapple Haze is the In the Pines with the Cuban Black Haze, and that's
that sounds
F2
awesome.
now. Oh, bro, my homie just grew it in Colombia, and what did he say? He had some great things to say about it. See if we can pull it up. His tasting notes, but I remember he said it was a giant plant. The smell of haze is intense, big giant buds, fruity, spicy, with a touch of gas. Giant plants with a sativa high for haze lovers and big production. So the Black Pineapple
And
Haze,
yeah, I'll be good. Are you gonna
and it's
do
chocolate. It's really fucking. It's chocolate and pineapple.
chocolate and pineapple? That's awesome. The how did the watermelon thing come about? Was that just some random luck? Or was that
All the
intentional?
watermelon terps come out of that Adonai cross, the Adonai, and that the original, the Russian crook and the silver tooth, the Russian Kush and the silver tooth,
Oh, so it
and
was like the blackberry and the silver tooth combination with
um, it's not blackberry, it's the Russian Kush is like an OG, and then the silver tooth was super silver haze, sweet tooth number 3, and that the combination, the Russian Kush itself was like, bro, it tastes like fucking Fruit Loops. It tastes like Fruit Loops and Kush. And then the
yeah.
silver tooth is just sweet tooth, that breeder Steve, and that's higher
I
heights, and
grew
is
the
yeah.
Oz number 6 and the
Well, that was
Gloria.
fire. Some hash maker just hit me up yesterday in the DM.
Amazing.
He's like, you got any more of those OZ number 6? Because that's a fucking real hash plant.
Yeah, that shit is fire. Yields well, tastes good, good stuff.
Sick.
It stayed short for me
Yeah, bro.
too. Like they didn't get over like 3 4 feet tall indoor.
Nice.
In like 5 gallon pots. I like that. And then I had the Z3, but then I wanted more of it. I couldn't find it, and I found the Boreas, which is like the Hindu. I was like, oh wait, that's the same
Yeah,
cross.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I got that too, and yeah, I was really
The
happy with that stuff. That
Z3,
stuff was
the Z3 wasn't that Terp Hogs, and we made Z Cube. I
yeah,
can't even remember. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Turpog. So it was Hindu to the
Oh,
Skittle.
that's why I see now. This is the same crew. Those guys. Oh, makes sense. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
always mad at me. They're mad. They got mad at me over that point specifically. I didn't realize
breeder
that.
beefs in NorCal. Yeah, uh, a lot of good stuff came out of all that though. So
Yeah, it's just like,
you're making more new stuff, so it's all good, right? I mean,
yeah, cool stuff too.
they'll
I got some Oaxacan crosses, and then some cool stuff. I got this shout out to my dudes in India. I got this Wayland Valley rare purple, and then I crossed it to the grape jack, and now it's shortened up the time, and it's terpenoline and just like some crazy fucking melon funk in this year to shorten it up a little more. So this is the third year growing with it, and this is sour apple melon on top of that, just to shorten it up. I want to keep the terpenoline because terpenoline is another great terp that unfortunately all the terpenoline dominant strains don't really get you high. But if you got that terp and you get high, it's just invigorating and uplifting in your head. So, I'm a fan of terpenoline, but like
Yeah.
I was saying with those too, is that in the pines, it's one of the terpiest strains ever tested. Doesn't really get me high. It makes me happy to smell it, and a lot of people love it, and it's so original. But I want stuff with the osamine that also gets you fucking blazed.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. the Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like the commercial people, they seem to want to do like 5, 6 rotations in a year, and so all the like weed has to be like 8 to 9 weeks. If it's a 10 week strain, a lot of them don't even take it full 10 weeks, and so like a lot of the good weed is being sifted out for this commercial like cardboard terps growing with Athena, all the
Bro,
same
it's
style.
getting to be unsmokable. It's like straight fucking low B grade beasters. The Cali market straight fucking beasters used to run in their early days. The pluses were good and shit, the fruits and all that. But then when the other people took it to their hands and it got watered down and shitty, and everyone knows it as shit beasters. That's what Cali's like now. All your shit is beasters, bro. All that fucking weed, dude. It's unsmokable, bro. You know what I smoke is I smoke weed from the neighbor down that grew that
Yeah,
shit, full organic. Fuck yeah, that's just nice to smoke. That other shit hurts your
yeah,
throat. Hurts your throat, bro. It's horrible.
yeah. They're spraying it with all kinds of shit. I heard that it can have a certain percentage of mold, and then they can spray it
Oh,
and it tests clean that day, then it's good, right?
I was
So it's
just
like they,
in Colorado at the fucking Canacon, and my homie's like, "Look at that thing, bro!" And it's the size of a room, and it's like, oh, what? It's like essentially a giant microwave that you send your fucking dirty weed through. It zaps it, and it comes out remediated,
oh, flour? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
bro.
So it's using like UV or probably or some type of
I think it's
something.
probably UV. I stayed away from
Yeah.
it. I was like, I hope they're not running that thing over there.
And then people are smoking that, that's the crazy shit.
Colorado, the weed's unsmokable, bro. It's worse than California. Michigan, unless you got a dude that's fucking got it, the small grow, they got some fire, but fucking Oklahoma, there's a
I heard
couple
it's bad.
motherfuckers. There's
I
a
heard
couple
it's real
motherfuckers.
bad there.
I mean, the Wonder Woman Apocalypse, dude, they got weed that's better than Cali weed for sure, but as that small batch, but like their shit is garbage. I went to bro, Oklahoma.
And then I heard they
Windows.
they refuse to use metric. They're like, "No, we don't want to use that."
They're fun.
Because
That's
it's
tight. They're tight out there. I love Oklahoma though. It's like you bring your own weed and shit, or like you got your little hookups with the small batch because it's cool. They'll let you smoke anywhere, like
so
at
it sounds like it was
restaurants.
like sounds like they have the old school like sessions that we used to have in California, where like you'd have the sessions or like little flea markets, you know.
I was
Everybody
at a
has their little
restaurant.
table.
I was sitting outside of the restaurant. I'd rolled up a joint. It was sitting on the table. The lady was like, "Let me get you an ashtray." And I was like, lit up and then we went to another restaurant, super nice. After the meal, just lit up joints inside the restaurant, just blazing. So they're doing
Wild.
something right out there. they're staying out of your business, like just you know what I mean, and they're not making it big business for themselves. They just want a small
That,
bite.
no, that's cool. I just hear they're messing up the the price, the Cali price. You know,
Yeah, I don't know.
they're, they're doing a lot of depths and stuff and pushing it all
You'd be hard
elsewhere.
pressed. You'd be hard pressed to pull off some depths that are worth anything out there, man. You'd be a
Really.
ice storm one day. You'll have a fucking goddamn fucking swarm of locusts. You'll have like some fucking heavy,
So it's all indoor.
heavy metals in it. It just blows through. You're contaminated.
So what are they doing? Just all indoor?
Yeah, a lot of big indoors. I mean, people are doing outdoor and that shit because there's $20 pounds and shit sitting in fucking
How?
barns and shit. People blasting the distillate and shit. But yeah, even the indoors is like who big indoor resonant Colts doing big. They probably got some of the best weed in Oklahoma. And then as far as big, that's all I can really think of. You got some small dudes like the Native Roots, and then yeah, little dudes. It's always little dudes that love it. People that love the plant.
Yeah, yeah. It's craft will always win, but it's like I think in just what next year I think, and that the Cali market allows the big guys to come in with their vertical integration. And when Marlboro comes in and RJ Reynolds and those type dudes, like they're gonna change. Like what we do, like they're gonna laugh at us and they're just gonna take over and mow us over, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to compete with that, you know. Like they don't give a damn. Like I think stuff like cookies, they might be able to compete because they're worth shitloads of money. But the little guy, like
And
I
they
don't
just
know.
and they just hooked up with the OG, the Bodie, and he's got a pretty
Yeah,
amazing library, and that library is going to set them apart. That was a very good chess move by the cookies dudes to secure the bag with that dude, and it's kind of a weird fit. I mean, I see a lot of people making fun, but
they're
whatever, you know what I
divided.
mean? Like, fuck, dude. At the end of the day, dude's got kids. He wants to feed them. He's addicted to food. Goddamn gas. Like, I don't know. I
Oh
don't
no,
fault
no,
anyone,
I
for doing
can't.
what.
I can't hate on a guy for
The
he's
dude's a
gonna
G.
now
I love that. I love that
now his
dude.
artwork is gonna get out there much further reach than it ever had before, and he's gonna have access to stuff, and I think it's gonna enhance both of their
Hopefully, he
lives,
has a
both
lot of
cookies and
say
his.
because his knowledge. He has a lot of say of what they're gonna do, and then like there's a big company that made moves to fucking save cannabis. Really, they did. Like you could talk all the shit you want to talk about those motherfuckers, but you know, they just made a power move, yeah, for their own company and the well-being, but also at the same time, that's a big move to save cannabis and from the direction
No,
that it's
I
going.
don't I don't hate on cookies. They did something organically and they made it big. And, I mean,
Yeah, they did. They
just
have the
because.
business parts. It's a big machine, and fucking Burner's always nice. He's a nice guy, bro. I got no problems. He's
Yeah.
always super nice, and it's like everyone involved that I met, it's like people that try to design you to hate other people for whatever imaginary reason. Oh, this dude out businessed you. Oh, this dude. And his ethics are bad. And then it's like, oh, it comes down to ethics. And then it's like, motherfucker criticizing this dude. Look at your own life. It's like, situational ethics. And I just don't go around collecting negative collateral on people. I just want to be happy.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be interesting because he has like the Kandahar and he has all these things like that he personally
Oh, he's
collected,
fucking G. He's
super
the
rare
guy.
stuff. That
I
88
had so
G13
much.
hash plant.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
had
all
so
I mean,
much stuff too when I got busted in '08. I had the most amazing seed collection. and it's like, fuck, I got caught slipping. It was at my house. And, but yeah, and then when I got out of jail, it was like the only strain that was left was that cross from that Higher Heights and I were involved in together. So when I got out of jail, I've only had that to work with, and it was the one that I had put the most inbreeding into anyway. So everything was built off like a fucking little bag of seeds, and it's like, when you go to jail, then you got your life's fucked. You don't got the ability,
Yeah, start over.
and you got to do moves, and you got lawyer fees, and then Jesus Christ, you get, you got. So yeah, that
Did
was
you ever grow?
what
Did you ever grow goji
the
from
goji.
Bodhi? Yeah,
You know, I think he gave me some goji bud one time, and it had some seeds in it. But I don't think I ever grew those out. I always wanted to, but it's like, it's like you only have so much time and so much room. It's like any Bodhi
yeah,
pack you could commit your life to. Like,
yeah.
really,
Well,
dog.
you're gonna find a winner in there.
And then you
Yeah,
you look at my stuff too. Look at my page, Massive Creations, and then every picture you see comes out of one pack or less. Every picture on my
yeah,
whole page is pheno hunted from a pack or less. And
yeah. Like Oz number 6, I found a keeper first in the first 3 seeds. You know,
right, see less than
I
a
mean,
pack, and then
yeah. Well, I still have the pack because I only popped 3 of them.
it's
You know,
epic, bro.
I like that, but and then peach rings. That was one I wasn't able to get my hands on.
I have some
So
grape gack. I have some grape gack peach rings, uh, seeds. Peach and love. I haven't released those yet
peach and
though. Peach.
nice. Are they are they similar terps to peach rings? Are they like that candy?
Yeah, but it's more than it's got that, like, from my experience with weed, to get the Gax and that's from an Afghani line. It's got melon, and it's got it's just got this Afghani funk to it. It's like a missing link terp. That's what makes it exciting, because it's a so yeah. And then my guys in Colombia, bro, the dudes, they're at like 3,000 meters. What is that? 12,000 feet. They're fucking the top of this mountain, just growing massive creation. Just like the shit looks crazy, bro. It's such a pristine environment, and they love weed
Yeah,
so
that's like
much. They're
above the
growing.
tree line.
Yeah, they're
I think
growing,
that's
bro. They're growing it just organically the way it should be done. So that's exciting. I've been working on it with those guys, trying to get this farm all up and ready and legal in Colombia. And then also shout out to Hugo and Ross Emmanuel, but also the Cali market, getting my brand out there with Pacific Reserve. I think we're up to 10 different strains we have. So far there's 7 of them in production, and then I have the ability to run that back into the brand, and that's exciting
Pacific
to be.
Reserve. That's a brand of seeds you have, or a brand recreational brand, or what
No,
is
no,
that?
that's a company. That's a company in Salinas. There's a grow in Salinas, a nursery, and then they also grow flowers. So I've teamed up with those guys, and they're like running it in the Cali market. So Metric, we have the strains of Metric and the ability to put it back into the Massive Creations brand. So then there's weed on the shelves in
Salinas.
California.
Nice. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Salinas. That's where Raymond Bowser moved down to. OD Diesel. He's down there somewhere working for. I think he's working for the big guy that owns Harborside. Uh,
Huh. D'Angelo.
D'Angelo. Yeah, I think he's working for that guy.
Huh. Yeah, and then shout out
But
to Lowell. Lowell's up there. Sunny Chiba. Those guys are fucking doing it out. And then,
yeah, Sonny Chiba.
dude's
That's
a
cool.
legend.
So when you're making your selections, do you usually what are you usually looking for? Are you looking for males or I mean obviously you want tight
Yeah,
internos, but
really, like, where even where a few years back, it's just that there, if you could control the input on one side to be more like, you ran it a couple times, and like you actually created a male, and then you created this male, and you crossed it with a bunch of stuff, so you have,
yeah,
you have
you
less
see what it is.
genetic drift. You bred a stud, like, you fucking, they breed bulls to be studs, it's like, and then they hit cows up, and so, like, I've
Yeah,
always looked at it, building your male is the way to do it. It's harder to build a female to be more like inbred, because you know you have to grow it out, be more into it. The males, they're easier to select, they show faster, so you're more in touch with them. So I've always felt like a strong male is going to make a strong first cross. And like, this is on the basis of further working the lines, because before dying breed, it was like the idea was like you work the line and then you have something that's actually yours. So there's a lack of nomenclature or whatever in the cannabis seed making world, that what's seed making and what's seed breeding. So what does it consider to actually say, hey, this is mine, I bred it? Is it doing four crosses? Is it having four different parents? There has to be some agreement. Like, you put a male and a female from the same seed company, two different seed companies in your backyard, and the plant does all the work, and it made crosses. The seeds were made. You really technically didn't breed anything. You didn't look for traits. Da, 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 da. So from that point, I think there needs to be like, hey, so you cross it three more times after that, and it's yours, or you cross it twice, you cross it another time to itself and to another plant that you maybe crossed twice or three to itself, and so you actually did some work behind breeding something. So that's how I feel. Like, there's a lot of seed making, there's a lack. Even myself got caught up in the frenzy of everyone wanted these, exciting F1 hybrids, just because some of the strains were so influential, but the reality of it is, put the work in, and then it's really, how much stuff did I really do? How many things have I really inbred to the point where it's really, it's like there's an open book. So it's like, really, that at this point, that's what I'm trying to do, is just
is there
work
a
as
point
many of the
where
lines
you've
as.
taken like is there a point at what falafel generation is it that you feel
Well, like they say, technically, you know, um, don't want to tell too much about it. I have my own theory about where your male should be for breeding, and
mhm.
then, you start getting to like the F6 generations, you start seeing like inbreeding depression. I saw that, before with the Adonai, is that it kind of slowed down. It had this monstrous vigor that created like the watermelon Skittles and stuff, but then by the last crosses, it was more of a small plant, and it wasn't like as vigorous. So there's a fine line in between that. But that's why I say F4, or four different crosses in a different way, that's not like a filial generation. You dig what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah, I
I
get what you're
think
saying.
that's a good level to be at before you hit like a downward run on what your plant can actually do, and why is a performance. And then when you do get these and you have F4s and you're making true F1s, and like, you're going to be impressed by the vigor that you made in your plants. You're not just going to have
Yeah, it's too hybrid.
terps out the box that are market terps. You selected something, you made something, and you're like, holy God, I followed the blueprint, and look, this is this thing I've never experienced, hybrid vigor. People don't see hybrid vigor too much, like true vigor. Like,
Yeah.
and that could be
Yeah.
another thing about, we were saying how strong weed was in the day, because not only did the plant have vigor, the trikes had vigor too. The vigor carried
What
over into the whole pile of the cannabinoids.
yeah, that's definitely yeah, how do you feel? I've never been a big proponent to feminized, but how's your what's your feeling on the whole feminized um, thing.
I think again, like I think
I think
you
it's
getting
not
where
good.
you
I think there's two ways to look at it, right? One is you're feminizing your own stuff, and then you got guys that don't want to do any work, and they go and they buy a hype clone. Like here in California, we're blessed to being able to go to a dispensary and buy
yeah, they
really
just make it
exotic
out
shit,
of stuff without putting the
right?
work
So
in we were just talking about.
they go buy 6 exotic clones, and they spray one with STS or Colloidal Silver, and then they hit them, and then they're a seed company. I think that's
They're the
fuckboy
problem.
shit.
Those guys are the problem, bro. Because here
Yeah,
again, to make these feminized seeds and to make them in the right way, you got to work your lines. You got to like take them
yeah,
to the F4, F3, F4, and then make your fems out of an F3 or better. Really, then you're gonna have better fems.
yeah.
The market's gonna be
I
better.
agree.
You actually we live in a deficit of honesty and ethics, unfortunately. And we see it a lot in the seed making thing because it's so open where you can just go buy something and do something. There's no real control. The only thing controlling you is like, hey, that's not really the right thing to do. So we have a deficit of personal ethics and honesty. And all these people tell half the story most of the time. And
Yeah, and
if you
then
really want
yeah,
to,
we've had this talk with some other breeders where like there's this like crab pot mentality in cannabis where people want to drag you down and talk shit, and like nobody wants to let anybody rise, you know.
it just
And it's
comes
kind
from a
of it's kind
lack
of
of
unfor-
self esteem.
it's kind of
You see a lot
unfortunate.
of people doing that. When you see people doing that, it's from a low self esteem, and then it's just because they know themselves they're wrong. There's no other reason logically why someone would have to go to those measures to convince someone that their side was right unless they were wrong and knew deep in their soul they were wrong. See, the thing is, when you're involved in the story, there's only two people that know the truth, and those are the people that are involved. So I know I
Mhm.
carry the truth, and I know, like we were saying, there's a deficit of honesty, and people just need to be honest and tell the fucking whole story and the truth about shit. And then there wouldn't be as much because cannabis used to bring us together. Now it pushes us apart. It shouldn't be pushing us apart. It brought us together. There's enough for everyone. Tell the truth.
What's your
Be
feelings on
honest.
and that kind of leads me into another thing, like, okay, so I've always been kind of like, I think lab tests are a good thing because you get something tested, it tells you what's there, right? That's the way I see it, right? Well, then we have
Yeah.
these genomic labs, a couple of big ones now, and there's been a whole bunch of hate against Phylos, for instance, right? But I think
Yeah. It's
they
so
started
wrong.
out with an honest. They started out with an honest with a good idea, right? They want to test everything out and see what's related to what's to what, and then we can look at those we can look at that data and we can see what things are made up of, right? And they created this big galaxy, and I thought that was a really cool thing, right? And then we have here's medical genomics, and they're kind of doing the same, carrying on the same kind of thing, but they're supposed to be have a little bit more integrity. Hopefully, we'll find out in the long run. I mean, it's going to take years to find out. You don't know these things. They say good things now, but you don't know till after the fact. But my thing is like the only people that really look down on lab tests like that are people that are lying about what they had in the first place, or people that have made crosses and then they've sold those crosses and they don't want to be called out on those things. Because I think if you're honest with yourself, you have no reason to like not want to send your stuff and get it tested, find out what it is, right?
100%. The other thing is like you're like, oh, those guys are gonna own everything. That's another people are paranoid. But yeah, I don't fucking see any reason.
I don't think they're going
If
to
I
own
could
everything
have
though.
the finances to do it all, I would definitely do it in a second. That's great. Map it all. It's like, why would you be
Yeah,
against that?
I think the only reason you'd be against it is if you're lying about what you had. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
um, also like. just getting a basic terpene and cannabinoid test, even this, just having that basic data is really good, really handy, because what if you make a cross and then you grow out the cross? You want to see, did you pass the alleles that you were trying to pass? Are those terpenes and cannabinoids in the children or not? Because if they're not, well, maybe you need to do a different pheno selection from those parents.
Totally. I think data is definitely good. It's just who controls the data for what reason. A lot of
Yeah, and
people
that's
trying to
that's always
take
debatable.
control, but they're gonna take control with or without you being, like, hey, you should have went to college and got huge degrees to battle these big companies if that was your thing, instead of just being bitter on the internet about it because you made up a lie.
Yeah, it's kind of like armchair quarterbacks, and you're just getting mad.
Yeah,
Like it's not going to
100%.
make
Like,
any difference in the real world. But yeah, I need to go grab another drink out of the refrigerator.
do it.
But I'll be right back. Just 1 second.
All right.
So do you grow in soil or
Yeah.
cocoa or
Soil always.
soil always? Do you do like a
Yeah.
living soil or what do you do? Amend
Oh
it with
yeah.
some stuff or lasagna
Um,
tech?
most of my stuff I just grow in the depths and stuff outside. So I've been using the same soil for shit long ass time. Just
You go right
yeah.
into the ground.
Oh no, I got some raised beds. So, it's got like idle in there, and then it's got some amendments, some pumice, a lot of I collect like the oak leaves every year, and then oak leaf mold. Oak leaf mold super fucking crucial, and then this earthworm content. But in my indoor, I don't really use any living soil. I just use the vital soil at the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a whole argument between growers is the bottles versus the living soils, and then the true living organic crowd and the K&F crowd, and you know, I think if you're doing organic, I think it's good as far, but how much organics are you gonna really get in a bottle if it's been sitting on the shelf for who knows how long? Like there was a test back
Right.
Oregon, the state of Oregon did. They tested all these like popular micro products, and a whole bunch of them had like zero living spores in them, and they were like really big names.
I bet.
you know, but but no,
Yeah,
it's
if you
cool. It's
can, the
cool.
best way is definitely living soil, true that way. But unfortunately, it's market dominant. And that's the part of the thing is that people want to be able to grow weed for six. They have to be able to grow it for 6 cents a gallon. That's their fucking bottom line on fertilizer, and we know that's going to get you. It's going to get you salts and stuff. And there's a lot of companies that
Yeah,
have lower end salts for the big
I think
market,
that's
and
where
it's
the
like
Athena is. I think
it's
Athena's somewhere around 7-8 cents a gallon.
yeah. I
When
mean,
you're buying it,
I've heard rumors, so I hear the talk, and unfortunately, you can't meet those prices with organics. And when you go to the grocery store, everything organic costs more. You go to the fucking
yeah,
weed store, there's not even a choice. There's not even an organic side, you know.
no, no. And part of that is I heard if anything, like if you want to be like, you want to be that dude that has that organic farm. If your stuff tests and it has any microbial content, I heard it will fail. It won't pass Prop 64 testing. So if that's the case, we're never going to have an organic section, at the store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pretty much craft is not, they don't want to sell craft. They want to sell Budweiser.
Yeah.
It's like,
there was a dude on
and then,
I saw the article. My wife showed me on Facebook. The sheriff of Mendocino County just wrote a letter about how 64 ruined the county of Mendocino and destroyed.
is that the county that had the sheriff with the $25 tags? Or was that Shasta County? It was a sheriff that had like $25 tags, and you could buy $25 tags per plant. It was up there
That might
somewhere.
have
I
been
know
here
it got.
for a minute because I know one of the old sheriff. He might got himself in some old trouble.
Yeah, it was a sheriff that got in trouble. It was maybe 6-7 years ago.
I heard there's some cases against the sheriffs up here, the former sheriffs, but this guy seemed like was like the most. It was really like, dog, this guy's speaking for the community because I lived up here for a long time and there ain't nobody left, and just desolate in there. There's nothing, it's different.
Yeah, Mr. Spliff is going to come on in about 20 minutes. He said. I don't know if you know Mr. Spliff. He's does some breeding up north. He's up in Washington State.
Hmm.
He used to do stuff with TGA. I don't know if you ever did any, if you ever grew any TGA strains. Well, I guess you did. You had obviously you had Marionberry to make but that's pound and patch strains, heroes of the farm. But you had Marionberry to make the peach rings, or somebody had Marionberry to make peach rings.
Yeah. I thought it was Heroes of the Farm, but yeah, maybe I think
Yeah, it's
the
Heroes of
two
the
of those guys
Farm.
were
It is
together.
Heroes of the Farm, but Pat started out with TGA, and then he broke off and he made his own thing. But they did the original.
Yeah. That's definitely where the fucking peach came from, the Marion.
It's good stuff, but Mr. Spliff has the Raspberry Kush, the mom of that. He still has that cut, so I'm hoping to get that from him and do some cross that to like Bob. I think that with the gas station Bob would make something really tasty.
There's this other cat, Sunleaf Seeds. He's got that Raspberry AK. It's pretty fucking fire.
That'd be good too. That cherry, what was it? It was cherry AK, right? That was the rare pheno.
Cherry AK, yeah.
It was like a pheno, but it was like I heard it was like super rare, like one in a thousand kind of thing.
I'm not sure.
I never came across it. AK-47, I came across that, but I grew it from some Dutch breeder, like some seeds I bought off Attitude 10 years, 15 years ago.
In the early 215 days, getting cherry AK a lot. Just the bud.
Yeah, and then like I was in Washington until 2014, so we had medical, but our medical scene wasn't really developed, like where we had like
Right.
dispensaries you can go into until like 2009. And then by 2010, middle of 2010, they were on like every corner and getting, there was just tons and tons of clones going around, clone shops popping up overnight,
Right.
and it's like some of that was like, morons like just fucking renaming everything to whatever's popular. And then there was a few like little legit ones too. It's like, and you didn't know
There was
unless you
so
like,
much fire in the Northwest, like fucking strain wise. That was just like, man, so much fire. Those guys, my friend has a bunch of seeds he made from a bunch of those early strains. And I just remember when I moved to Cali from Washington, just being like, man, the weed's not the same, dude. But then you can find weed that's super fire, like in the San Jose area in like the early 90s. This is like $400 an ounce. And it was the fire was fire, but it was a different type of fire. There was like more
Yeah.
variety in the Northwest. But dude, in the 90s in San Jose, holy shit, there was some bomb fucking weed, bro. You would go somewhere like a concert or some shit, like a reggae show, smell that shit like was like church, dude. You know what I mean? There's not weed that smells
Yeah.
like that anymore.
Yeah, that church
Just
weed was I remember some church weed. That was yeah. When's the first time that you saw OG Kush or even heard of the word OG Kush?
so when I came down when in Mindo and stuff, those the dudes they had the Hindu Kush. And then I had met these kids that I told you about, the Russian Danny and stuff in LA, um, through some dudes, and those dudes are the first dudes I legitimately saw OG Kush from. I seen the Hindu Kush, but those guys brought it up, and I was like, "Damn, now I understand what this shit's about." And and I was like, "Damn, that's some next level shit." So I was like, "Damn, I just wanted to smoke OG forever." And then, like I said, I got those seeds from those guys, and I started growing the Russian Kush, which was it was an OG, but it was just a little different. Like when I brought it back to the dude, the Russian dude, he was like, "This is the one." It's like it just had something a little different, but you know, it was
Now,
just a
did you ever
derivative.
hear about the BTY OG, the better than your OG?
You know, I heard about all that shit, and I smoked some good OGs back in the day, like those Topangas and all that shit. They're just fucking glorious. But I really was not too much into the OG scene that I knew so much about it, because like really once I had the Russian, I was just kind of really stoked on the Russian, and
Yeah,
that was the only OG that I ever really grew and knew. Like I grew a couple others, but like I never had the Tahoe or the da, 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 da. I like smoking them, and I wish there was more of them still around. But yeah, I never growing up in the Northwest, I didn't know about that shit. And when I came down here, I learned from those young kids. And Eureka found the Russian Kush, and they gave it to me. It was OG, but yeah, out of respect, those guys were Russian. I always called it the Russian Kush.
yeah. No, I asked because the better than the BTY OG has a Russian connection or Russian story, and apparently, like
Yeah,
the Russians they ran the shit in L.A. right, and
yeah.
that cut
Well,
was
I
pretty
guess
pretty tight.
then there was the rat. Those guys, the Mexican crews. Those guys ran it too. But yeah, there was a time. Yeah, those Russian dudes on lock, 6,500 a pound.
What about the Kims? When
Eight
did you come across the Kims?
The Kims, you know, that was more like a hippie thing. That was just like it seemed like that's like Grateful Dead weed and shit. So it was like it was kind of like that heavy weed seemed to always be around in the circles before. But like when I first moved in the early 2000s, and I got that AJ sour diesel, bro. That was the life changer, bro. And I just got it back recently. I hit it with the sour apple melon, which should be pretty fucking cool. Sour apple diesel, but because I love both those strains, and I think they have some to add to each other. But that AJ was fire, and it was I don't even know the real story about that shit. Some dude named Hal had it, and those dudes had it, and it's just the most fire sour D of all times.
Yeah, yeah. The first time I had sour diesel, I was probably late to the Washington State, and it was about 2009, and it was outdoor growing, and it was some Cali dudes that had come up to Linwood and set up a dispensary, and they filled it up with
Oh
a
man,
bunch of Cali bud, and it was these little tight nuggets, but that flavor, it wasn't like gas, it was like this sour. It was amazing, amazing, and I've never found the cut. Been looking for that cut. I don't know where it's at,
I'm
but
pulling out some of the old stuff. Hopefully, I find some of that in it. But yeah, uh, a lot of the times when I made crosses with those things is like a little recessive. That was a little recessive and didn't really show too much in the crosses. Because that AJ had that same just sour, just like lime, lemon sour shit, funk.
Oh yeah.
Another strain, like you said, doesn't fit the parameters. Oh, it takes 75 to 83 days, and then everyone hates to trim it. The best weed out there because they hate to trim it. It takes a
Yeah.
couple extra days. You didn't have to fucking veg the clones; you just throw it in. But like, oh, no one wants to trim it. The yield's not
Yeah, but
there.
we're never gonna see Oaxacan. That's not gonna show up in the fucking dispensary, right? Takes too long, right?
No,
They People aren't. They're gonna be. Oh, it's too much larf. I don't want to trim it. You know, gets too tall. We only have
that
10
when
foot
people
ceilings in this
really started
facility.
pushing yields, when they're like, "Oh, this is the new parameter of yield." People back in the day, you got so much people didn't really care so much about hitting his huge yields because like it was worth shitload of money, and like
Yeah,
once people got to these extreme yields, it just killed the flavor. It killed weed. You go back to getting like 1.5 per light and shit. You're getting flavor back, and then it just whatever doesn't fit the parameters of the commercial room gets tossed aside. The OG doesn't grow good in the cake room. Fake
yeah.
cake. We don't
Well,
want no
the
dessert.
OG doesn't yield, right? So
Yeah,
that's
just
that.
like everybody wants it.
Yeah, and then you have this bullshit where like we have these trends where, oh, we don't want green weed anymore. They want purple weed, or they don't want purple weed anymore. They want green weed, or now and then it's like they're all chasing these dessert terps right now, right? It's like I don't
Yeah.
know how many different desserts can there fucking be? I mean,
No,
they've
it's
pretty much
boring.
they've
Please,
got desserts now in like Italian names now. Even they're using like
no
other
more
languages
dessert
to.
terps. No more dessert terps. Lean away from dessert terps. That's just not good, bro. Not good. And a lot of the best
Yeah,
strains, unfortunately, they got lost in the illegal era because they were so stinky, like you would smell it, and everyone
skunk.
who had it got busted. People got busted,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Kevin
they got
Jodrey talks about the skunk and how I guess in '83 when they had the drug bust and the Reagan came in, everybody went indoor and then they didn't have carbon filters the same way that they have now and people were getting busted for stinky shit. You
yeah.
know? But yeah, I don't know if that skunk is out there still, like if
Well,
somebody
look,
still
so
has it.
me and Dally D did some breeding and stuff, and with no skunk heritage in the strains. Skunk finger is one of the most skunky strains that I've ever smelled. So, I can't pronounce the word. It's not really a terp. It's a thylene, or it's like an animal terp, a sulfur compound that makes up the skunk smell.
Like an
And
ester or something.
fuck, it starts with a T. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but so you got to think like at one time, just there was more than one weed variety that smelled like skunk. So there was more than one skunk. That's skunk bud. That's skunk bud. Someone had come up with a skunk number one. That's skunk bud. But through this, we've proved that the skunk just naturally exists in the weed. You know, came from like a mixture of fruities. It was so random that the skunk came. So the skunk's out there. I don't think it was exclusive to the skunk number one strain. Just like there's many purples. And one
But you
time
think
in
it's like it's so we'll probably find it in some combination of land races, is what you're saying. Sweet.
yeah, we found it in the most surprising place. So you would never think this strain would come out so skunk finger. It's like you could smell it down the block. It smells like that, and yeah, it's fucking fire. And it came out of nowhere. It wasn't like, oh, we got the roadkill skunk from this guy. Oh, we got the seeds from this guy. No, it would just naturally came out of some crosses that we made.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
fire.
skunk terps, and then I've never smoked. Well, I guess I have. I from the dispensary. The Columbia Gold or the Columbia Red. Did you have any experience with those, or is that like too? Like the only ones I have is from a dispensary, so I don't even know if they were real. You know?
Yeah, when I was a kid, bro. So like gold weed, it was a thing for sure. And then red weed was a thing too. There's things that you don't see anymore, just like full on red nuggets. And some of the gold was from drying techniques, but there's the strains that were like golden. And I remember that definitely in the 80s in the Northwest. And uh probably some Colombian or something, but that shit was fire, bro. It was just more, you know, today's market it wouldn't be good because it's more like the diesel. No one would like to trim it. But it was just huge calyxes that were just light green and just like god damn, we called it the light green fluffies. And it was just a totally different high.
Yeah. That stuff comes. I mean, hopefully it comes back. Be nice if some people breed with it just for home grows. You know, just so at least it's out. Some of those older strains. Ace Seeds, I guess they do some landrace stuff.
Ace Wolves, those guys crush it. They got some of the yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah, and
Definitely, they got
Cannabiogen.
some.
Cannabiogen was good, but now they seem to only do nutrients. They switched their motto, like Cannabiogen, because they used to be the other one. It used to be Ace and Cannabiogen that had the two land races, and then the other one is this Indian Landrace Exchange. Are you familiar with those guys? They're
Those
bringing in a
guys,
lot of
that's where I got those guys are tight. I met those guys in Europe, and then there's the other guys, the Indian Landrace Exchange. Yeah, those guys are super tight. Um, I maybe not got that strain from those guys, but I got those guys are the dude that did the Afghan project too.
yeah,
Indian,
Afghan
yeah,
Project, and the Rasol and a bunch of their
yeah,
really
those
good
dudes are rad.
strains.
And then those guys in turn are growing some of my stuff over there in India. They're just
Oh,
like so
nice,
hype, but they keep
nice.
it separate. They don't want to like get the wild pollinations going. But yeah, I definitely follow those guys. They're down. There's a few different people doing it. But along with that comes some fraudulent business, and there's some frauds out there as well. So you will really want to look into who you're dealing with when it comes to that.
Oh, absolutely. Have you messed with any of the weird shit like Australian bastard cannabis or freak show or duckfoot?
Fuck, I'm trying to think. That dude Willie Duck back in the day, man, a crazy dude in Amsterdam, and he had that duck foot, and he had about 3 or 4 different passports. It was a different era, and I remember that dude. But I know I've had some Lebanese strains come out with the duck foot. I want the Australian bastard. I've never really grown that one. Um, what was the other one?
The duckfoot and the shapeshifters freak show from Shapeshifter.
Freak show. So is that Doctor Freak? Because there's a couple freak dudes out there, and they fight with each other too. I think. But
Yeah,
I met
this
the
guy goes
Doctor
by
Freak.
Shapeshifter, and they did the release. Nat did the release under his Humboldt Seed Company.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen that mutation before. I think it was Heights showing me from one from back in the day too. But yeah, some dudes ran with it. I think it's really cool. There's a few
Yeah, I think
different
it's like
people.
an F-15 or something. Like they took it like crazy amount of generations.
Yeah, it's
To
super rad. Those guys, and they seem to be really knowledgeable about what's going on with that thing. And how cool is that? How cool is the free show?
yeah,
Big fun.
I bought it. So Dark Heart, I mean, they're not the most respected people. They probably spread more hop latent than anybody, but they were selling Freak Show about 2 years ago, and I bought it and I grew the thing out. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome because it produces like regular nugs. It's just the leaves are just so. It's the perfect incognito plant. It really is for
So I
incognito. Like
was at one of the Echo Cups, and then there's a dude, Doctor Fruit. freak too, who also has some freaks. And then I was walking and he was like, "Hey, I'm Dr. Freak." And I was like, "No way, that's fucking rad. I love that plant." Da da da. And I was like, "Maybe we could do a freak collab. I'll give you a pack of seeds." So I reached into my bag and I pulled out like a pack, and it happened to be Max Headroom with 2 X's. And the dude's name was Max with 2 X's. It was the weirdest experience ever. This is the strain we make, dude. Freak out.
That's cool. No, I grew some. I grew. So there's a guy, the Big Kush. He's in chat on the thing, but me and him, we went in and we bought some duck foot from a place called Pumana. It's a seed bank over in Hawaii. They have a whole bunch of Hawaiian strains, and so we were trying to get the Puna butters, is what we were trying to order, but these
The
assholes sent us Puna butters to cross with duck foot. And so I grew out these what I thought was Puna butters, and these fucking plants had all web leaves, like big ass web leaves, bigger than your hand, right? And I'm like,
What are they
what the
called?
fuck? So
Punani?
no, they called it. It was supposed to be Puna butters, but it was
No, but
Puna
what's the
butters
seed
crossed with
coming
duck
called?
foot.
What was the
Oh,
seed coming
Pumana,
called? Pumana.
Pumana. It's Pua.
Uh,
I'll send you the link when we get off of here,
were
so you
they
can
on the
check them
Big
out.
Island?
I think they're in
Yeah, yeah.
Kauai.
Yeah,
But
so that was another place that had some epic weed was Hawaii back in the day before the green merchant, the green harvest for the helicopters.
oh yeah,
They
yeah.
still got
The
fireweed bro, in Hawaii on the island of Molokai. Ultra Beast, Pakalolo, my bros, they fucking dude. They got
Dude,
some
the Molokai,
fire,
that's
bro.
something. That's something. The Molokai, cross that with your shit. That would be some epic stuff.
I got some crosses. There's just too many crosses to release, so it's just like I'm confident in how they'll perform, but I haven't tested them, so I haven't released
Yeah.
the Molokai grape skunk, bruh. So I'm gonna send them some
Oh,
seeds.
that'd be so good.
Oh, bro,
That'd
maybe
be
they'll
so
beat me
good.
to it, or hey, you want to test them out and make sure they're all good? I'll send you a couple. But yeah, I gotta get them some seeds
Oh
of
hell yeah, I'd
Molokai
grill
grape.
those out.
Because,
Yeah.
bro, I went over there and my homie had all the this fire and stuff, but these guys they came and they had their strain, the Raja, and oh, bro, that shit is fire. And all we wanted to do was smoke Raja, and it was sun grown Molokai, and we're just. I want to go check them out too.
Yeah. And back in Seattle, every once in a while, some Hawaiian weed would come through,
Oh
but
yeah, I was gonna
it
say
would only be a small amount, like a QP at the most. You know.
those red nuggets, the round balls, and they
Yeah.
were just red hair, right,
Yeah. Super
bro?
fire.
I remember that Hawaiian because my homie was a chef in Seattle, and we would drive up from Gig Harbor when the Hawaiian would come in a certain time of the year because these are things
Yeah.
would happen only 2 times a year. So you would have to get your order in and be lined up with the dude, and hopefully you could get that. And if you were lucky, you could get a little more. But yeah, you would wait. You would know the date. You would be waiting for that.
Yeah.
There's
Gone in
no
one day.
phones to communicate. It's just like, bro, when's the wine coming in? When you and it's like this day, and you'd line up and you'd be waiting for it. That was next
Yeah.
level fire.
And then the other thing would happen is every August there would be a dry spell at the end of August. There'd be like no weed around. You couldn't find no weed.
And then the Christmas buds would pop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Christmas.
By the end of by October, all the good weed was starting to come out. End of October, because it's fall harvest, right? And then it was a lot of stuff would come out from NorCal, right? They'd sell all the shit. They'd harvest in
Oh,
NorCal, then
dude,
all that bud would.
in Washington where I grew, it was like so much indoor. Like there was like in the small town I lived in, they were always getting busted. And then me and my buddies, we were quick to hear about it, and we'd be in the house scavenging around looking for buds they didn't find and shit. So we were in the indoor grow houses at an early age because we'd hear about busts, and then we would fucking go sneak in the house and shit. And we're like, whoa, like we're like 14 years old. There's these rooms, and it's like the cops had ran through there, so there's a destroyed house, and we'd just be hanging out in these like grow rooms They got grow houses that got busted and shit.
That's crazy. How'd you get your first equipment? Were you using street lights or were you using stuff from like the hydroponic store?
The first ones we stole those fucking roadside lights, and we just
Yeah,
like kind of rigged up some stuff. And then early on it was like fluorescence, one cool blue to two reds, and you would just set up some fluorescence. And then once I got enough money, like I think the first real grow light I got was a 430 Sonag, and it was like, I'm getting a 430. I was so stoked, and like uh I fucking rode the bus to the grow, and I parked down the road, and I rode the bus for my car. I went to the grocery store, I got the light, I rode the bus back to the car and shit, and
yeah.
then I set that up, and I fucking cropped off in my closet, dude, in my bedroom, and then boom, I was bigger harvest than I thought. I bought another one, so I got another light. Now I got two, and I'm like, okay, this is getting blown out of the closet. Maybe I got to figure out something to do. And then so I looked for a house, and there's houses with basements, and then boom, I had four. Boom, had six. And then it might have been the time when I upgraded to thousands because I was making more money. And then I was like, boom, I had 8,000s at my house, quit my job. I was working for this company. I had a job then, but I just running basements in the Northwest of just fireweed, shoebox. Just that was when you just like, you didn't let everyone know. So you just had a couple custies, and whether you dates or let it all go at once. It was just more of a lifestyle that you kind of lived undercover more. I had this one grow in Portland, and I would leave my house every day to make it look like I was going to work, but I would just drive to Mount Hood and go snowboarding
Oh, nice.
every day. So yeah,
Do you remember
ever
what the
since I
first
got
strain was you were growing?
Well, when I got those, I used to go up to Mark Emery's a lot because the border wasn't far from where I grew up. So
Yeah, me
I
too.
would go up there and get seeds, when Ken was running in the back room. And remember, but across the street, they had that pool hall, crosstown traffic. It was like a coffee shop pool hall. You could smoke weed there, in the Hastings. It was pretty open
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
And that's
I used to go to New Amsterdam Cafe all the time.
yeah, because
I
it
used
was
to have Blunt
before
Brothers
BC
in New
got big
Amsterdam.
time, so there was a cool little scene up there in Canada before it became commercial weed up there. So I was across the street playing pool with this Rasta, and we were smoking weed, and he gave me a bud, and I had bought some seeds, but you don't see what those are from, so you just have seeds. He gave me and it was just this fire fucking citral, and I was like, no way, that's just has such an original smell and was such a hard, just like exotic bud. And I remember I found a couple seeds in that shit, bag seeds, and I took them home, and I had like all these seeds that I smuggled from Emery's back, and I just decided to grow the citral, and that's the one that I grew, and that was the first one I grew, and then I realized why it had a couple seeds in it after I grew it a couple times because it dropped a late season herb and dropped some
Yeah.
seeds. So I gave up that strain, and I had I was growing the pez outside, but blueberry was one of the first ones that I really started cropping indoor, and the goo. The blueberry was a different kind of blueberry than you see today. It was like it branched like no other plant, and the weed
Was it
instead of
blueberry
purple,
muffin or was it? Do you remember
had
if
a
it was the
blue.
blue?
It had a
Because there was
blue
like these,
tinge.
there was these two blueberries that are going around in the Northwest. One of them was like blueberry muffins, like it smelled like almost artificial blueberry muffin. Then there was one that
No,
was like fresh blueberries, like actual like the
it was a
blueberries. Like
straight blueberry. It was a straight blueberry, and I cropped that off forever. And then, I did grow some Master Kush back then too, which was kind of like some OG, but a little different. But yeah, um,
yeah, Master Kush, you don't see that around anymore. That was so good. I don't know
That was
why
a
you would
fire.
think you would see it around, especially here in SoCal, but no, it's not around. No, you don't even see it in dispensaries. It's sort of strange.
Definitely.
I wonder.
Am
Yeah, I
I getting
don't
echo
know.
here?
An echo?
Yeah.
Is it there now? I don't hear it now.
Yeah,
It
let me
might be
see.
my. It might be the software. It might be because of bandwidth.
It might be.
Yeah, but
But
no.
yeah, and then the bubbleberry. The bubbleberry was another one that I was growing a lot of back in the day. And then I had some strains that I made and stuff as well.
Yeah, that's this the Skittles. You are you going to do any more crosses with that, or you think you're done with that?
Oh, there's a couple that are in the vault that should come out. I don't have the plant. My buddy TH Seeds in Amsterdam, he made this phenomenal plant with the cut. They call it Shiloh Z, and I might grow that one. I don't know, but I don't really have any Z plan. I have other stuff to do, and I don't really have any plans on working with that. But that
There's a
fucking Shiloh Z,
rumor. Yeah, there was a
that's
rumor about Skittles. Let's see here. Grapefruit times grape ape, and the rumor is that the third ingredient was sherbet. Any
you
truth to
know,
that?
we live in a deficit of honesty, and
Yeah,
as far as I know, it was just I don't know. It was not made. The story was made, so I don't really want to fucking touch on all the details, but
yeah,
um,
that's all good.
it's
Yeah, it's all good.
it's
No, no,
it's,
it's
it's
been one of the most. Well, it's literally like you got to think
ask
about
me
it. Like
again.
Skittles, it's
Hey,
like
ask me
cookies
again.
though.
I'll pretend I'm artificial intelligence. Ask me the question again.
Okay, the
What?
cross. What is the cross between? What is this true Skittles cross? Grape ape,
No, name the skill.
uh,
Yeah, there you go. Go.
grapefruit times what? What's the third ingredient?
It is possible that it is a grapefruit, grape ape crossed with question mark, but it is also possible that it is a renamed strain that was found. So there's many
Good answer.
possibilities
Many
in what it could be.
possibilities.
They're all
Yeah.
possible. So I didn't get my PhD. I didn't get a PhD,
No,
so I can't the true
no,
story.
and the thing is that Skittles is one of those strains like cookies where it fucking changed, right? Like
Right.
before Skittles and cookies, we were talking about White Rhino and fucking old shit like that, Durban Poison and Hash
Yeah,
Plant.
yeah, no, it changed the game. It changed the game. All the people involved. It's a large cast of characters. I'm just one of the players that happen to be involved in the whole thing, and it changed the game completely. It changes the game daily. Everyone still puts the Z in something, and it was born out of a bunch of dudes that love weed, and we're all friends at one time, and then it became this phenomenon. And at one time, we were the boys, and we're bigger than anyone. And then it crumbled, and what could have been, what might have been, but yeah, it was a great era of cannabis. Great people that loved weed. We were at the frontier of it, and that's not everything goes to the best case scenario always. So, but yeah, it's been an exciting trip to be involved in. Love and hate of the love and the hate of
Yeah.
the Z.
Do
And
you ever
then
come across
I
Cannabis? in the years that you were doing stuff, that you ever at Ken
Oh yeah,
Estes, and you ever cross paths?
Estes and his brother, his lesser known brother Randy Estes. So that's the whole deal with the fucking grape ape. Dowdy D, he's 17 or maybe 18 years old. He sells a tray of clones to Randy Estes, Ken Estes, and then the Granddaddy Perps was born. Final filmic, the Granddaddy Perps. They're all stories where only sides get told, but yeah, that did happen. Sold him a tray of clones back in the day. Put the purple in his hand. Like I said, Dally D's a California kid. He had the purple before anyone I seen. The only other purple I seen, that the hippies had it up here, and it was the Mendo Perps. And the Mendo Perps, I guess the whole story about that is that Not So Dog was trying to get an Afghani from his old timer neighbor, Lawrence. So the Minnow Perps is Lawrence's purple. And then he grew it out. And in the process, his light came undone and guillotined the male. So there was only the female plant. When he was done, it was purple incense, a totally different kind of purple, totally different kind of weed. And he told Lawrence, he was like, "Oh, it's not that Afghani, it's purple." He's like, "Oh, that's my purple strain." So actually, Mindo Perps, it was Lawrence's perp, not too known story. Not So Dog, another G, another player in the game of seeds, definitely of strain preservation in NorCal, Mendocino counties ever since I got here. So, but those are the only, and the hippies had it because he wasn't stingy with that cut. So those are the only two purples that I really saw popping back when the weed was green.
Yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be some purple in Hindu Kush, right? They find purple phenos in that naturally.
Well, I think it's like Highland Afghanis, like 90 some percent of them turn purple at maturation. So it signals a decline in THC levels because at maturation, we know
Yeah,
the heads
yeah,
start
too
turning.
much anthocyanogen, I think, fucks
So
with the THC.
the natural sign. Check it out. It's a natural sign of pH percentage going down. So it's a decline, and it's like that's why the weed was green forever, is because But yeah, high
Yeah,
percentage of
and green phenos always test higher.
they taste better. Green weed tastes better.
We got Mr. Spliff join. Hello, Mr. Spliff.
How are you guys?
1 second. Hey, what's up? What's cracking?
Finally back after a long day doing new stuff done.
A long day of that?
I hear a delay.
There is a little delay.
Let's see.
I was telling Shiloh that you still have the original raspberry Kush that made the Marionberry.
I definitely do. And I'm hearing like a 10-second delay loop.
You don't have the show open in another browser or tab, do you?
I'll try and leave and come back. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, I do. Of course I do. Of course I do. Of course I do. Yes, thank you, brother. I was like, God, it's driving me crazy. What did I do this time? Oh, shit. I'm just so computer illiterate. I feel so bad. Oh, man. Thank you. So, anyway, yeah, I do have the Raspberry Kush. I've had her since like 2011. Like right before I met Subcool, I got that cut. And then it happens that years later they start breeding with a bunch of it. But it's the exact same cut that they would call Pinot from North Bay area, right? Like this chocolatey, like raspberry, Afghani looking shit. And they said it was two different cuts, but I can tell you from my experience with that cut for 10 years that Pinot and Oregon Raspberry Kush are the exact same thing. Exact same thing. There's no difference between them. And But anyway, that's just one of those things I always point out, that they were breeding two different. They had Pinot and Raspberry crossed with Space Queen while I was working with Subby. I was like, guys, they're the same exact fucking cross, and Sub's like, no, and I was the only one that had that opinion. But for sure, I still have the Raspberry Kush. She's a nice cross, She's a little bit of a like if she gets root bound, she likes to like autoflower. But other than that, she is super solid, goes huge, has great resistance to mold and mildew and hoopers, and like black, really medicinal too. We had the cut for probably 6 years before I met Josh and Kelly from Dragonfly, and I started going to the country fair with those folks, and they got a bunch of midwives down there, and they started smoking this Raspberry Kush, which I would have thought they would have run into at this point already, being from Oregon originally, but everybody was amazed with its like anti-inflammatory and pain masking capabilities, because there's just those few strains that have that really clearly medicinal effect, and so we've always kept the Raspberry, and we've come close to leaving her in too small of a pot for too long and her freaking out and being like, oh fuck, is she gone for good? But I've had her for 11 years, and she is super awesome and amazing to breed with. Amazing. She's a good yielder too. So anyway, I just got really fucking stoned, and so I'm a bit yappy. I apologize. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. He's been taking. Shiloh's been doing some dabs and some joints, and
I was
doing
just. I'm
some dabs.
looking at. Sorry, my kids in town, and I was texting with them. Yeah, Josh and Kelly, they're rad. You were asking me earlier about strains too. One of the earlier ones that I was growing and was around dudes that were growing was in the Northwest was the Alaskan Thunderfuck, and it was very medicinal like that. It was like almost smelled like antiseptic. That's a missing terp, is antiseptic terp.
Agreed. Like original Afghans were kind of like that, like almost like a black licorice antiseptic that was just like mentally fucked up, like stoned, like that's the kind of weed you smoke. You walk into a room, you're like, fuck, why did I come in here? And then you get the bright idea. You're like, I'll go back into the room I just came from. And then you get in there, you're like, fuck, why did I come in here? And so there's not enough of that old school flavor. And I'm always looking for real Afghan. It's really hard to find that kind of stuff.
I have a question for both of you. Maybe, I don't know, either one of you might know. Is Gooey Breeder the guy that originated the Gooey Afghan strains, or the Gooberry strains, or what's the situation there?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either.
I assume like half gooey was just one of those things that is like a
isn't that Afghan crossed to the goo? The original goo?
the goo, from what I understood,
I don't know, like, the goo from the Northwest. It might be.
That shit was so fire. Oh my god!
I thought the goo came out of Oregon.
No,
originally.
The goo is from like Olympia, and dude, like hyper color green.
But yeah, Olympia too. They had it for sure.
Dude, so good. That was like late 90s. I used to see that shit all the time. The goo was so fire. Oh my god. I haven't thought about that shit forever. But that was more like, I don't know. That was different than a lot of Afgooies. A lot of Afgooie or Afgoos had like a little more density. But
I like it. I call those the missing link terps. That like it was like a there's pre OG funk that was like, it was funky ass weed that smelled horrible before the OG Kush came with the Kush smell,
Right, for sure.
Like rubber and antiseptic. You still come across them today, but yeah, I like those terps.
What about like the hot garbage terps? You mess with those at all, Shiloh?
I don't know if I've hot garbage yet.
I got some with some old school chem cuts that are just like filthy, rotten, garlicky gym socks that it's like, what the fuck? And hands down, like the most narcotic weed we've got.
Oh yeah, I'm down with the BO weed for sure. BO weed for sure. Just like hippie BO.
Yeah, funk. But I know that
But you
like
know how like that, you
that
know that
rubber
smell, like the fucking like that liquid smell that fucking garbage like gets.
garbage
It's like a
juice.
garbage juice, you know, like it's foul, nasty garbage juice.
Yeah, there
No,
are a
but you know
few of
what we
those.
came across a lot this last year? Cucumber water, like cucumber turp. And
Yep.
cucumber and watermelon, I think, are really close to each other. So I
Yep.
think that's where it comes from.
We've got some honeydew melon type flavors in one of our Godfather OG crosses, and it's that very like sweet, almost slightly ripe fruit flavor, and not like a rotten cantaloupe quite yet, but like the brighter side of that flavor. And we got a sour kiwi that's kind of along those lines. And I was always wondering if you guys had hit cheese with your Skittles and brought that combination of ultra louds together.
I have some cheese crosses actually, but they're not with Skittles. They're like with a uh Afghan Northern Lights Pakistani mail.
There you
But
go.
yeah,
That's
it's a
one of
funky
those few, like they made all the cheesels back in the
cheese.
like Dutch days and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, skunks.
Oh man, the old school terp, man, it's so nice. And I've got quite a few cheese crosses, and there's like only so much new discovery that's left. I mean, there's probably a handful of like really exceptional lines that can be made that can then flower out into these other flavors, but there's definitely some unique shit within the Skittles that can be blended to these rarities. I've got something similar in my sour sage. The sour sage is like a cookie F1 that looks a lot like cookies, but it smells like white sage, like a smudge stick. And we hit that with
You had a
sour
fucking good
kush.
meme.
What's
You had
that?
a good meme. It was like no, he had a good meme maybe like a year ago. It was like about not about the Z. It's like I'm claiming ABC or I'm claiming. You had a good
K-terps.
meme. K-terps,
K-terps.
K-terps. I'm claiming, yeah,
Yeah, I got
K-terps. It's like
K-terps.
fuck the Z.
I got K-terps.
You can have the
I'm the
K-terps.
home of the K-terps.
What you doing, puppy dog? What you doing, Phoebe?
No, that's good.
Hmm.
But no, that'd be good. I mean,
Just like a letter.
line.
No one claimed K.
Well,
No one claimed K yet. I was like, that's my shit, K. People got hyped
also,
they're like, what's K?
There's
well,
only
you
so
can
many
actually
names
build
left.
on that because if you make a line that gets popular enough and you build on that line, like they got Z terps, cookie terps, so you'll have K terps. That could potentially be something more than a joke.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I do have some K terps, so I probably weave it into the web. Ow.
Yeah, cheese and Skittles. I don't know. I think those are different. I wouldn't say they're similar. This guy in
they
chat says they're.
they would beat up
Uh,
on each other. It'd be amazing. Cheese is already loud as fuck, especially the brighter side cut. And I've hit cheese with my menthol vanilla Duamish, like my kind of cookie diesel cut. I've hit cheese with my sour diesel menthol. We've got like three cheese crosses, and they're all loud as fuck. They're really nice, but there's not many things that cheese is blended properly with. Blue cheese is like one of the greatest things ever made. But
Like the real, like the cheese.
yeah, like
Or the,
UK Exodus, like stank fuck. And then there's that like a little bit like bluer looking flower, that like unique brighter side cut. I think it's from like Brighton. And it's just like the Exodus in that stink, but it's a little bit brighter and I think honestly a lot louder, but it doesn't have like quite the same musk as that Exodus cut. And
all right, I found what it was. I found what it was that I grew. It was called Grape Gotti.
rape.
you did. You got it.
Yeah, I grew Grape Gotti. That's the one I grew.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell the grape part of it was though.
the grape gack, the grape soda fruity pebbles OG gack cross.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I didn't clone it though. I just grew it and um, donated the flower to somebody.
flower is fast, and people like its structure. It's short. It's got terps. It makes hash. It's not my favorite, to tell you the truth. I
It
love
was a
smoking
little
it.
leafy for me. It was kind of a little leafy for me, but it might have just been the pheno.
Yeah, we got some super chunks out of it, but
Oh, it
I
had
like
nice
it big.
buds. Yeah, it had nice buds, but it was just I don't know.
Leafy to trim.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Leafy to trim. There's some leaves. A lot of, but no, it was good. It was good stuff.
Reminds me of
I that was the only GAC cross I came in, and that was a pheno that I bought. Like it's like in Prop 64. Like that was like a clone from Green Dragon in North Hollywood. I'm not familiar if you guys are familiar with Green Dragon, but in Southern California, they're probably like the most respected dispensary for having legit clets. And the guys like they hunt everything from seed. They'll grow out tons of shit and do big pheno hunts and find good phenos. And then they're not selling you like the B phenos. They're selling you good phenos. And they never have bugs. They never have powdered mildew. Like it's rare to find something like that, like a legit dispensary that's selling the A cuts and not the fucking B and
Green
C
Dragon?
phenos.
Green
Green
Dragon?
Dragon. Yeah,
those
in
guys
North
are rad.
Hollywood.
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
guys are rad.
But yeah, that's where I got the Grape Gotti from, was from them.
Nice.
He even fell off. He should be back in a second. But yeah, that's it's definitely interesting. That's cool that you're gonna still work some stuff. I thought you like for a second there was like email this email address. I'm getting rid of everything. There was like I thought you were going into NFT, and then there was this thing with I saw the Eddie on the list, and I was like, I didn't have the money. I was like, fuck, I want that Eddie. I still want that Eddie.
They might be around still, but yeah, I couldn't leave it. It's got my soul. Dragged me back in.
Well, it's an addiction, like growing is more fun than smoking in a way. I mean, it's cool to like make new shit and see that new shit, and then you get to smoke it and try, see, oh, maybe I'll add this or go this direction. I mean, it's really fun, and like that part is more addicting than the money. Money is good though because it like allows us to do shit, but it's the growing is definitely an addiction.
Why am I stuck just wanting to smoke my sour diesels and my chems and my OGs? All I want to smoke is old school gas. Like I can make fucking fire shit all day long, but all I want to smoke is old school gas. I'm a whore for the gas.
Right.
I just, I can make really cool throwbacks and stuff that's like modern Band-Aid terps.
Does that gas transfer when you make the hash? Does a lot of that gas transfer?
Ooh, yeah.
Into the hash?
Without a doubt. If you're feeding fish, you're getting fucking aroma and flavor all fucking day. So I mean, you don't got to be heavy-handed with the fish, but
yeah, actually, you know what? Fish, but I think another thing, the reason why a lot of the terpenes have changed. Back in the day, we used to use a lot of guano. These rec farms, they don't use guano. They use zero guano.
I think guano was just a platform that delivered phosphates and potassium well, because they used to make them like a 0.14.0 and a 0.08, something like that. And so they'd make these different kinds of guanos.
There was also the seabird guano I used to use as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was like, and then the other thing too is like, so the bat caves are protected, right?
Yep.
And they're only allowed to scrape like the top maybe inch to 3 inches. And if you've ever seen a bat cave, they're full of cockroaches.
Oh,
so
yeah.
a lot of times the first inch to 2 inches is all it is cockroach shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting bat shit mixed in, but you're getting mostly cockroach. And
all
so
I can think about
it's kind of crazy. For a long time, we're using these guanos, and there's a high percentage of cockroach in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with
grass. I like grass.
I was just going to say, you were
Yeah,
talking
but
about the
think about it
castings
though.
earlier.
That's a ton of fucking chitin.
Yep.
So it's not a
Chitin,
bad thing.
it's
Yeah.
like with frass and castings, a little kelp, alfalfa, and rock dust. You don't need much more.
But black soldier fly frass, that's probably my favorite shit. That stuff is so good.
Yeah.
I buy it from Boogie Brew, company up in Northern California. They're pretty. They have some good stuff. I don't know if you've ever tried any of their stuff, but this whole idea of like raising the bricks count and raising the chitin, like bugs don't want to attack it. It might be bro science, but it seems to work. So I
Chitinase is really impressive in what it does for plant systemic reaction and stuff like that. I think that it's one of those things that Organics Alive has proven over and over again is that, you know, Northern California and Southern Cali, they had all these EPA regulations for treating trees, and he and his mentor, they were getting a bunch of flack from these other companies because they were spraying organic-based compost teas on these trees, and they weren't using the typical like attack type serums, you know, that would kill the bugs. They were instead treating the trees with a bunch of biology, and in turn the trees were producing more sap, and so they were naturally pushing the bugs out of the trees, and the trees not only got healthier but got bigger and continued to thrive. And so all these people were like, well, what the fuck? Why are you guys using organics to treat the tree? We're just going to use a pesticide. And they're like, yeah, but you don't need to use a pesticide if you can raise the bioimmunity of the plant. And so it's really amazing what years of spraying Eagle 20 and Avid and May and all this shit that was really popular within the I got to make money crowd, you know, and they were growing all these cuts that were super susceptible to mildew because they were all bag seeds and they were fire, but now we end up with a legion of plants that are sick and we got to remediate, you know, so it's slowly but surely. And then some cuts are just too far gone, but I love the frass and I love bokashi and the casting is like number one shit, man. And Organics Alive, I always, you know, give them huge shout outs because their premium mix is fucking next fucking level. But anyway, yeah. What do you think, Phoebe?
damn, it's good dab. Smoking peanut butter breath of all things.
Nice,
But
nice.
he doesn't like it. You don't like it?
I've never smoked a peanut butter breath I liked actually.
No.
And my buddies have grown out some really nice ones, but it's a funny when, you know, I was working with Gage for like 3 years, Gage Green, and they were Key Play was so mad at Gromer because Gromer kept making Mendo breath crosses, and you know, so there was always this like animosity. And I told Key Play, I was like, why don't you make more Mendo breath crosses? And he was like, meh. I was like, that's just the answer. It's like if you're the creator of Mendo breath.
Some other chick up here made Mendo breath, and they just fucking took it from her. Everything has a fucking story. Everyone's fighting about it, but yeah.
The Myra stuff. There's these two folks that were watering for Gage Green, and they'll tell you a whole bunch of different stories. But long story short is,
I don't know who's telling the truth and who's not. They both saying stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I worked with Gage for 3 years. I know, unfortunately, a lot of the shit that they were involved in, but there was a couple that was watering for them that worked with them on their property, and they did not treat them well. And so there's a lot of frustration, bad blood, and those two gentlemen unfortunately had to go their own ways because they just couldn't find a path that worked for both of them. And the writing was on the wall a long time ago. But you know, stepping stones, and there's those relationships in this industry, and sometimes they bear a lot of fruit for other people. And that's what happened with Gromer. Is he started making a shitload of Mendo breath crosses when the Gage guys weren't, and so it's just, it was fun. It was interesting to watch, you know, from the position that I was in. And so I've seen a lot of bad relationships and good relationships. And it's, you know, the one thing I've learned from working with Sub and then having to leave, and working with Gage and having to leave, is just when you get into partnerships, you got to be so clear up front about what's what and what people expect. And if you can get that shit ironed out, then a lot of it goes a lot smoother. But I think people just aren't honest from the beginning, and it's so important to carve out and have that respect, and it helps to be family, to start. But I've seen a lot of broken hearts, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard to deal with. You put so much stuff in, and then
Yep.
you don't have it mapped out correctly, and then you just take such a loss, and then like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. But that sometimes it takes different types of people to do it. Though it takes a positive and a negative side of a battery to have a charge. So
Yep.
I look back. It's like I put a lot of time into previous projects, and they were really fruitful at times, but like you said, sometimes you got to step away for personal reasons, and it's unfortunate. Not every business works out exactly how you plan. You have good
Yeah.
times, you have bad times, and you learn, and you move on, and you're better if you just do it yourself. A
That's
lot of times it's like, oh, I want to
100%,
do it with
dude.
someone else. It's like, I like you, let's just do it. It makes it
Yeah.
easier. No, just do it. It's harder. There's a lot more doubt in doing it yourself. There's a lot more forging yourself into something that's uncomfortable when you do it
Yep.
yourself. You don't have anyone to lean on. You don't have anyone telling you lies. You don't have anyone, to count on except yourself. So it's a more of a valiant path, I think, and it's and
Without
the
a doubt.
outcomes are greater.
And it's tough when you're working with other people, or say, in my situation, when I worked with Sub and when I worked with Gage, I wasn't any part of the founding of the company. Although I pulled my fucking weight, it's still like, it's not my vision. So I have to be very respectful of the other people's,
Right.
it's their baby, right? And so now once you break off and do your own thing, then you can address the public how you want. You can give as much, seed back into the public as you want. Because that was a tough thing with Gage, is they just did not want to give out anything to the public free wise. And not that you need to give out freebies, but like, let's take care of the people a little bit. And I think Sub was really good with that, but again, it's like, it's nice to be able to just have the final say, and to be able to take the flavors and the directions that you want to pursue. And even if you're working with multiple people, you can have multiple lines, and I'd way rather answer to me than anybody else. So that's not always a good thing, though. Like you say, that my boss can be very, very. It helps when I have mate, because that little bitch in my head goes away pretty quick. So,
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I'm glad for the path that I had. I mean, I spent 3 years working with Subcool, and he taught me a lot. Not necessarily. I was a good farmer when I met him, but he taught me a lot about the business and what to look for in
He's
people.
one of the originators. He's an
Yeah,
originator of the. He came out way before a lot of people
without a doubt.
outside started doing it, and rest in peace.
And like with the early days of the High Times Cups, like, imagine before there was so many jumpers, right? Like, getting your shit to Amsterdam and then being a part of these like pseudo legal cups, and then bringing your shit back and establishing yourself in the American market, when it's still like, the cops are looking to fuck you up no matter what, and so he's told me a lot of stories where he's just like, yeah, I was definitely scared a lot. He's like, I had people fucking gunning for me and trying to entrap me, doing stupid deals overseas. And it was really interesting to hear a lot of his early High Times Cup experiences. And I mean, I knew he was a photographer when I first had been to Amsterdam in like 2006. I'd gotten one of those DNA genetics catalogs in their Amsterdam shop, and in the Reserva Privada section in the back, they had all these photos of like Apollo 13 and other things that I wasn't familiar with yet, but it was photographed by Subcool. And I was like, oh, I've seen that guy write articles before. Okay, he must be like a columnist and a photographer for Cannabis. And then I found out he made seeds one day, and I was like, oh shit. And then I found a guy on Craigslist. It was Jinx Proof of all people. He was selling Subcool seeds on fucking Craigslist, and then that's how I met Jinx Proof, and then I met Subcool, and the rest is history. So, but Sub was a great guy. Like, a lot of people want to hate on him, and Jilly was a little bit crazy at times, but I miss Subby. He was a great dude.
You gotta think of it though, like breeders are like artists. And a lot of
Mhm.
artists, think about painters, right? A lot of them don't get along with each other. And it's not that anybody's art is better than anybody else's art. It's just it's the creative minds. Like we don't always click with each other, right? Like you might have an idea to build your male this way and cross it with these females, and maybe I think that's not the best direction. Maybe you should have chose this other thing that this other male and went that way, or who knows. But there's always
Yeah.
some type of fucking shit. There's always some fuckery that happens somewhere along the line. It's really difficult to find two people with the same mindset that can go the long distance, right? A lot of them you can go the short distance, but to go the
Agreed.
long distance, I mean that's fucking tough. I mean that's it's and then
You
another thing
know,
is like finding testers, finding honest people that you can send some untested gear to
That's
and
hard
having
too,
them
yeah.
test the stuff, grow it, we give you feedback because a lot of them you give them testers and they disappear into the ether. You don't hear from them again, or they take
new
your
seed
testers and
company.
they cross the shit and start a seed
Yeah,
company with it.
exactly.
They're an Instagram seed company, or it's like
Oh man.
there's a lot of fuckery that happens in this business. I mean, just at the small scale, even.
I can remember I was at the 2015. No. Yeah, it was 2015 LA Cup, and I saw these two younger guys that had just bought some weed, and they were standing over by the fence. And we're like people that breed a bunch of cannabis. We got huge gardens, hundreds of fucking lights, plants everywhere, blah blah blah, whatever. There's these two dudes that I don't know if they had a garden, but I saw them standing over by the fence, and they just got like an eighth or a quarter or something. And I saw how amazing this moment was where they got this weed and they're like, dude, this shit is so awesome. And regardless of what the strain is, I realized that there's these pockets and these moments within the world of cannabis that are so much like they're so far removed from, either breeders fighting over what's better or what cuts this or how does it yield or what nutrient. Like it's so easy to get caught up in a certain line of thinking and forget like how meaningful it was the first time you discovered cannabis, right? And I'll never forget that moment because I had gone up to I gave him a bunch of weed after because when I saw it, it's just like you don't get to capture that, especially once you're immersed as much as guys like us are. I mean, it's not that we've seen it all, but it's our daily life,
I have to
and
ask him. I have to ask him. Have you crossed any of your stuff to cookies?
my weed.
No, Shiloh. Has he done
Oh,
any cookie crosses?
I don't think so.
No form cut, nothing.
I got this. I did some shit with the wood cooks, but no cookies cross. There was like
No.
might be one back in the day. There was a Kim cookies cookies Kim Hawaiian. It was a Kim Hawaiian mail, and then on some cookies, but I don't know where those seeds really went.
All right, you never. No, I was just wondering if you guys ever mess with that, like, because like it isn't the
Look, I think there was
Skittles somehow under Burner's umbrella in some way now?
is who?
Skittles, is it under Burner's umbrella? Because he like in some of his advertisement he has Skittles listed, but I don't know if, like if you guys are
I have no idea.
no.
Those guys might be involved with that dude, but no, I think we crossed the watermelon Skittles with the cookies, maybe watermelon short cooks. That was one from back in the day, but yeah, nothing, no real cookies crosses. Maybe one or two
No real
here or there.
cookies crosses. Did you ever smoke cookies or like it or?
Yeah, back in the day when the cookies first came out, that shit was fire. There's this dude up in
Yeah.
Humboldt. He used to grow it. I think he called it platinum cookies, and that shit was fucking fire. It's like, where did that go? You hit it once, and you're like, whoa, fuck, that was fucking real fire. But it went away way fast. And then he didn't have the platinum cookies anymore, and he just had this other one that was the more doughy cookies. But I would buy zips of that right now if someone had that real fire cookies. I ain't seen that in a long time either. The
Platinum and
What up,
Forum are really similar.
Well, it looks tired as hell.
Oh nah, dog, it's that high, man.
Hey, what's up?
Y'all alright, so
No, yeah, the cookies. When I first saw the cookies, it was in a dispensary in Linwood, Washington. It was the same cats that had the sour diesel.
Hmm.
Those guys, they brought it up, and it was bud with these red streaks and the green, and it was like red and green. I was like, man, this shit looks good, but they only let you buy an ounce, and so I bought an ounce, and I paid for it because they would only allow you to buy it in grams, right? And so
Oh,
it was
man.
$10 a gram. It was like it was 30. It was a 30-gram ounce, so it was a little bit over. But yeah, that shit was fire.
And wood. I love cookies. I mean, I got a couple different cuts of it, but there's
But
things that I like more. But the cookies is nice.
do
But there
y'all
was this
think people
guy.
take the real Zarbud and roll it in the dab?
Sometimes
yeah.
I put that shit in the middle of the doobie.
Cause sometimes I be smoking, like we get some gas in and I smoke it and it tastes like wet. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know how it tastes when I lace my blunt wet. That shit, the bud, it tastes like wax on it or some shit. You smell like it.
I like
Yeah,
wax.
I usually just hit this banger. Like I think he has a Puffco. Like Shiloh has Puffco, but I usually I just hit the banger, heat it up with the torch. I wait about 45 seconds and then I hit it. I get a nice dab.
Dude, we only do cold starts.
Mr. Spliff, he does cannolis and hash. And
Dude, if we
spliffs.
take dabs though, bro, we only do cold starts. Only cold starts.
No,
No.
you're ruining the dab.
No.
The dab. You're not
Nope.
cold start the dab.
Love
We're
it.
not new.
I agree.
I
Cold
love
starts
cold
and it's
starts.
way more efficient. You save time of your day if you cold start.
I think the flavor's better.
You're losing minutes.
Oh my god, they're ganging up on me.
Dude, the flavor's so much better. The flavor's a million times better. I cold start for life, dude. Cold start for life. Like,
but do you feel you get as big of a dab from a cold start dab?
It's not about as big of a dab. It's a better dab. You know, like just because the boobie's bigger doesn't mean it's got the right shape. So,
you know. Bro, your banger looks a little Chaz from my position. So
my banger is super Chaz.
Over a fucking Chaz banger, glowy any day, bro.
My banger is ultra Chaz.
So
it's ultra Chaz.
People love chazzing and they love that hot hit. I can't knock it.
Dude, it gets you that sweats and that like.
I like that hot. I do like that hot hit, and it is ultra Chaz. I just feel like it expands my lungs and just takes my breath away.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I keep the Chaz banger for my homie that comes over. He'll only Chaz him, and so I'm sick of him ruining my shit. So I keep a Chaz banger.
That's so funny.
Do you Q-tip after every hit?
Yeah, dude, especially with the cold starts, it's super easy. You know, it's like way cleaner that way. Dude, my buddy came over one day and he saw us doing the hot starts and he looked at me like I was ill. Like literally, he looked at me like with such disgust. I was like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like,
well, I got the music.
You got to be doing cold starts, player. And I was like, he's like, especially with rosin. And then I tried it one time with a brand new nail, and I was like, oh my god, I'm never going back. Like 16 seconds and you're fucking money, man. It's just
16 is the number.
Do you guys buy expensive nails like the quavs?
Yeah, the best one. In the future, everyone cold starts.
Yeah. Dude,
okay.
real,
I'll give it.
And
I will
with
buy.
a Quave banger, like FloraNugs with a Quave banger and cold starts, it's never gonna get beat up. Like they're the shit, and like then the cold starts, it's easy to clean.
I buy these bangers from Yo Dabba Dabba. You know about those guys? They're up in Anacortes, Washington.
No.
Anyway, they're not Chinese bangers, but they're not quavs, but they're they're affordable.
And you know, it's just one of those things. If you're gonna spend $50 a gram on like shit or even more on super solid rosin and things like this, then buying the nail that doesn't get chazed for $200 that you just keep clean and cold start for the rest of your life. It's like,
if you treat it right, it'll last years.
What
I'll
is a
tell you
cold
what,
start?
FloraNugs. Here's one thing that's for sure. Mr. Peanut does cold starts, I promise you. With
You
that
asked what a
moniker
cold
and
start was,
contact,
Paula? So basically, you can either heat the banger up and then wait for it
Yeah, I know
and
about
then
that
hit
one.
it, or you can put the wax in it first and then heat it, and that's the cold start.
Like you smoking out of pipe.
Like
yeah,
smoking
kind
out
of.
of a pipe, yeah,
The
yeah.
Yeah,
nice
I think
thing
about a
is you
cold
don't.
start. Cold start, man, that shit sound like you doing some whole nother goddamn method.
You know, the nice thing about the cold start is you only have to get it as hot as it needs to be rather than overheating it and waiting for it to settle. So,
Yeah, that's like 2 minutes. That's wasting 2 minutes every
yeah,
dab when you do that. Like
and
this
then it
takes
just,
60
They
minutes,
play
right?
they
You
put
put
their
a
hand
dab
on
in
it.
30 seconds. So
yep.
it's like, what do you want to do? Waste your time? In my day, I take a lot of dabs, so I can't waste all that time, and then you run out of.
But
Yeah.
but how much is that? How much does that alcohol cost in that Q-tip?
It doesn't matter. Again,
Wipe
it's not
it when
about
it's
the
warm.
it's
like
not
a
about the
drop.
cost of the
Like that's
accoutrements. It's all about the dab, right? It's all about the hash, and so everything else is just part of the process. But the great thing about cold starts is you go from a short temperature to at temperature rather than being too hot with the initial hit burns all the lipids or whatever else, and then the flavor is just muffled or overly one way or another. But if you're smoking rosin, the cold start is, James Bond, another guy that cold start dabs for sure, without a doubt. So,
James Bond.
dude, he would never hit a hot nail.
007.
Dude. He would never hit a hot nail. It was always cold start for James Bond. I promise you. 007. So,
I got nothing on that one. I got nothing. Man. Yeah, I'm a menace. But yeah, the cold start changed my life, dude. Like I literally had no idea that such a thing existed. And then my wife and I tried it one time and we just like looked at each other like, this is the greatest thing. The flavor, dude, the flavor. Oh my God. It's just all about the flavor, dude. Watching those heads just become best friends and You guys did mess with any coffee terps?
Bubba Kush. Tahoe OG is a little bit like that, but Bubba Kush for sure.
Pacific Northwest Roots, they have a strain called coffee.
Pacific Roots, yeah, that's the one I was gonna say. That's the one. It's a fire strain for sure.
I had his F1 for a while, and then we bred, or we worked with the F3 and made some stuff with it, and it was, what was it, Fire Alien Kush with, I can't remember what it is. Kaya's Coffee. It's
This is the coffee cube. But I haven't opened it yet. I need to grow this.
Yeah,
That shit smell
I
like
would
coffee.
grow that. That's Devon fire.
It smell like coffee.
The coffee smells like a spicy Kush, kind of, like an OG with a little bit of spice, and it definitely has some floral coffee notes for sure. So, but it's a good yielder. It's got some purple to it, but it looks like OGs. Ooh, the new 10 feathers is germinating. Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Are you talking about the Kaya's coffee, or are you talking this coffee, or are you talking about Bubba?
Kaya's Coffee.
Kaya's coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just haven't grown it yet. I think it was derived from like Alien Kush and some
Fire Alien OG and something else. And he and I are buddies, and I grew out his F1 cut. It was really, really nice. And then he worked with Green Source Gardens, who they took it to an F7 together, I believe. And everybody loves it, dude. Like it's done really well. It's definitely it's like Tahoe kind of a little bit, like if I was going to relate it to anything, but it's got a little more purple to it. So
you don't even see Tahoe OG around anymore.
I have a cut.
I was around a lot. Tufas everywhere.
I seen that shit 1 year for 1 month, and we ain't never buy no more of that shit.
I just made a Tahoe OG cross across the Tahoe OG with
Wow, bro.
The Tahoe's nice, but honestly, it's a great platform. It's really calyxy, knuckly, like very resinous flower, but the aroma is spice with not much gas. It's a good platform. I think with something gooey, it can really
That Mexican weed, bro.
be something else.
I
But
want to
yeah,
try this.
it's like,
I want to try this cold start on a Chavs banger. We'll see how this works
Hey,
out.
Start. Change your life,
even,
dog.
yeah, it's like even with the Chaz banger, you're gonna feel like Mr. Peanut. Like I said, with the monocle and the top hat and the cane, it's immediately classying up your life. You'll see.
What?
Halloween's coming, dude. You're
I'm
gonna,
going on top at Mr. Peanut. You're going way deep on that.
dude. Mr. Peanut's like one of the classiest icons there is in the world, right? Like, how many other icons do you know have a monocle and a top hat?
Mr. Peanut.
Yeah,
I
Mr.
thought there was
Peanut,
a
dude.
weed
He's
Red-
super fucking
Yeah.
classy. He's got the cane, he's got the monocle and the top hat. So I'm trying to just, James Bond, Mr. Peanut, I'm trying to give you some analogies to how you're going to feel once you take a cold start. Yes, are you? All right. I'll be up in just a second. All right, I got to put the 3.5-year-old wife to bed. Man, being a father was a rude awakening. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tap out. It's been a couple hours. I got some shit to
All
do.
right.
Thanks for having me on here.
It's way more flavorful. Okay, I got it. It's way more
Yeah,
flavorful.
you're gonna get a new banger. Strictly.
I'm gonna get a new banger tomorrow. After tomorrow, I'll get one.
Changing
No,
lives.
Shiloh, thank you for coming on, and it's nice meeting you, and hopefully we talk in the future, and it's cool stuff.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. You have a good night.
All right, you take care, man.
All right, peace out.
Peace out. Let's see here. We got some bootleg music. We got some bootleg music right here. We're gonna play some bootleg music I got here.
Man, I'm fucking big.
I had to.
I was like, oh wait, we're gonna get kicked off the live. I forget. It's not like
No,
what I thought.
it's a song. This song.
Modern rules of copyright bullshit. Fucking crazy. Why can't we just listen to the music we want to and vibe on the live and smoke weed and talk about America and guns and whatever else?
First, the internet be hating.
Fucking censorship.
I don't think nobody better than me. I know a lot of people ready for free. Probably should get paid, but they hate for free. This could be the dream. How you see?
You know what's really fucking crazy is I've been all over Europe, and everybody is so damn jelly of American hip hop and the sound and the culture that we built as people. That's just they have hip hop there, like in Frankfurt, which is like their New York. It's very heavy hip hop. I know a lot of artists there, and it just ain't the same. I mean, there's something, especially about West Coast, but the American modern message is hidden within that stuff and the beats and all this, and you don't find it like this anywhere else in the world. And there's good hip hop all over the world, but just man, America's got something super fucking special. We are the culture, which is sorry, not sorry. It's the fucking case. So
I'll play another one. I'll play this one called Complete.
I just love music, dude, and it's we all grew up in that time where hip hop was really fucking emerging, and we all became beat junkies, dude, of fucking 100%. We went from guitars and bands and drums and bass to fucking head bob and shit. Get that neck exercise, dude.
I come from the church.
I like Complete. These are the ones I like. I'm like, I need these.
I've been grinding, I've been working, I done put myself on payroll. Pass back to back, pass it like a hot potato. Careful with my cheese, cutting rats like quesos. You know how I feel to be a misfit. They'll probably do it.
I'll be right back, brother.
They'll probably do it if I ask for it. I don't really know what you waiting on. Never met a person so nonchalant. What can you do? What can you say? What can I do? What can I say? It feel like the world on my shoulder right now. I know it ain't fair in the world at all. It's a whole lot of color like Fruit Loops. Like a kid ready to go to school, fresh pair of shoes. All I know is get it back to back. Then my else trying to keep up with the safe, with the counting of the paper. They'll probably do it They'll probably do it if I ask for it.
I'll play cake up.
I can run it up and I can run it back.
You heard that new one I dropped called Possibility?
Yes, I still remember some shit hard to let go.
What was it called?
Like a
Possibility. Possibly.
I don't think I heard it yet.
It was my version of CeeLo Green Crazy. The YG Guala version.
Oh, nice.
But not his beat though. This is a whole nother beat, but it just came out among me. You know how I record?
Yeah, he just thought of it and
that was that.
did
it. It's crazy how it matched to me.
Did you mess with that Sir Mix-a-Lot beat at all yet? The old school Posse on Broadway?
I keep forgetting the name. I'm trying to tell my old, because I got, you know what I'm saying, my people I hang with are older than me, you know what I'm saying. I'll tell them, because they try to, because I'm not familiar with music. Even though I make music, I'm just born into it. I have no favorite rapper or none of this. And people would think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But it just come natural, dog. So the name of them people is Posse what?
What's that? Posse on Broadway song.
Posse on Broadway, yeah, that's it.
And it's by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
What did I find the beat? I ain't never looked at the beat because I couldn't think of the name, bro. I was trying to tell them. I was like, man, some people from the West Coast, they want me to Posse something. I couldn't tell them that. They could look at me and go, I don't know no Posse. Like, y'all niggas know.
Yeah, Posse on Broadway and by Sir Mix-a-Lot. It came out, it's an old song. It came out in like 88.
I played it. That's something different.
But it's got bass. It's still a good song.
You know a guy called Larry June?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
He some artist that started popping. He from the West Coast though, but I like his beats. They like smooth, hard. If that makes sense, smooth, hard, southern. Like they crazy.
Koski's still in chat. Let's see, Koski's still here.
You said what I type again? I'm telling you, I forget the name, man. Posse.
Oh no, okay, Sir
Mix.
Yeah, SIR.
Broadway. I got
Mix.
Instrumental.
If you go on like Spotify, it'll come right up. Or YouTube or.
Let me see if this is the instrumental. This is at 8 minutes.
Oh, you don't need the whole beat. You can just grab some of it, you know.
Every dollar counts, but leaving yourself vulnerable to legal issues can be a costly mistake. An LLC can protect you.
Shouldn't be 8 minutes.
This the beat?
Shouldn't be 8 minutes. That sounds too long.
Nah, this one extended. Look, it says extended
It's a different one.
It ain't it.
That's like somebody else. That ain't it. It's like, I'll send it to you.
Nah, I know the song. I gotta get the instrumental. I don't want to rap on the song.
I don't get copyright.
Oh, man, you next one, John. Man, how can I help you this afternoon? Check this. I'm sorry, John.
I don't want to get copyright strike though.
Nah, they copy.
That's it. Yeah, copyright strike me if they're on live. But if it's like not live, it's okay. But if it's live, they copyright strike you, and then they won't let your video be played in a bunch of places.
Oh, I got
YouTube.
Like
YouTube's whack. Yeah, YouTube's whack.
But no, they did that since the war though. Like on everything, even on my Facebook, when I upload my content, they tell me that the metaverse is not allowed in X amount of countries, so your music will not be This content cannot be showed.
Yeah, shit like that. Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Looking at something here.
Yeah, I almost missed it, man. I can't just in time, bro. I tried to send you live so you could send me the time again because y'all 3 hours different. I mean, it's the beat.
Where you at, Georgia?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Were you originally Louisiana? Is that where the name comes from, Guala?
No. Guala come from my city. I named it. You know how they brought out Guru once upon a time in the movie. They it was some kind of funny movie. They said Guru. They broke it down. GURU, like you are you yourself.
Yeah.
That makes a person a guru. So
Yeah.
G, I am my city. You know what I'm saying? G, you like when you see me, you will see this country every time trying to make it up. You know what I'm saying? I do it for
Yeah,
myself. And all it take was money. So Guala mean money. So YG stands for y'all get money. Y'all get Guala.
Yeah, originally I was from New Orleans. That's where I was born.
No, I ain't running though. I'm
and then I moved to Washington, and now I'm down in Cali. But I'm in Southern
Washington
California.
State.
Yeah. So I was born in New Orleans, but when I was 12, we moved to Washington State up to Seattle.
Okay.
And then I lived there for and then in 2014 I moved down to California, Southern California.
You might know my uncle, bro. My uncle, he used to drive trucks and stayed in Seattle for some years. He got kids and stuff.
This guy joking. First time you smoking?
Oh yeah, dude. My
Don't
first
throw
beer.
up. Don't throw up on camera.
That's his
God,
first,
you gotta give me a
first
lot
toke
more than
ever.
that. What's that, man?
First toke ever, huh?
Dude, well, second maybe, but the pens are a little bit, I don't know.
What are you smoking?
Moon pie. It's like marshmallow crossed with chem. It's okay. It's not really like I don't take much of the dab stuff. I really just smoke flower. So, but I can't smoke flower in the house anymore just because of the kids. So, yep.
Where he from?
Seattle.
Oh, he there.
Yep, I'm up in Washington, and I lived a little bit here and there, but I spent pretty much most of my life in the greater Seattle area.
It's cold there right now?
It's starting to get cold. There's been a couple of days where you're like, fuck, man, might need to wear like long johns and shit and like get a jacket. And then the next day it's like fucking 80 again, and you're like, God damn.
Oh, okay. So, that's just not here.
It's like it's about to get cold though, we're like not looking forward to it. Here comes the heads. Anyway, yeah, I love the Seattle area. Good food. There's amazing climates. There's like the eastern side of the state's kind of desert, and the western side's oceans and mountains, and it snows over here and stuff like that. But on the eastern side of the state, it's dry and hot. So we got ocean, we got lakes, there's a lot to do here, but it's not quite warm enough to like have that summertime outdoor grow. It's like everything's indoor weed here, but the culture for cannabis in Washington is, I'd say it's pretty good, like everybody's always trying to emulate that fake California bullshit, but not that I dislike California, but you guys know what I mean. So it's all an image that's sold to us. And that's why I brought up the thing earlier where like, as somebody that breeds cannabis and has made seeds and had every cut there is, sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped up in everything and forget just how basic the love is for like just a couple of really good nuts,
No, they're non-bread. Oh, sorry. I'm having a craving for some non-bread. So I was thinking about the non-bread in my head.
Dude, I ate garlic naan yesterday. It was fucking incredible.
That's exactly what I'm going to make in about 2 minutes. I'm going to run to the microwave. I'm going to throw it in there for a minute. And I'm going to eat that shit.
Yep, dude. Garlic naan. We had it with some. We eat that shit for breakfast, dude. Like it's probably the last thing you want to eat when you're like heading out for the day to go talk to people. But like the
Sorry.
fucking garlic naan, dude. It's if you take a couple hits on in the morning, that shit's so doughy and soft and yummy and smells so good. Like oh my god. So yeah.
It's got a
Do you
good
guys
name
have,
to it.
what's that?
Has a good name to it.
Yep. Yep.
Cheers, Swift.
No, we haven't.
Flora.
There's no one's made non-bread,
Oh,
have
fuck.
they? Terp, non-terps.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. I'd have never tasted bread terps outside of like maybe some God, what kind of has that flavor? There's that it's one of my Duwamish crosses. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a
What's
donut.
Wallace smoking on? What do you guys smoke on down there? You have a favorite strain?
For me,
Yeah.
man, I told you, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? The whatever good gas is, I like good gas. I like different flavors.
Yeah.
But
When
real
I see
gas.
it pass back to back, that's a lot of flavor. I just like flavor.
What's the popular shit? What do you see?
I don't like no
What
perk,
kind
bro. Perk. You know what I'm saying? I like to smoke perk, but not no back to back perk, bro. That shit make you go to sleep, bro. Lazy. I don't like that.
You gotta have a bag of purple for the ladies, and then you have the gas for yourself because
I smoked some Hell's OG so far, and that was like Hell's OG. It
Oh,
drives
that's just
trash.
fire, bro. That's just fire. Hell's OG's fire, bro.
that's a really nice cut. That's like, some of the OGs have some lemon or some deviation. The Hells is just straight gas. It's a really
And
good
then
one.
one time I had some Milky Way. We had some Milky Way. That shit smells just like caramel.
Mm-hmm. It's
But
amazing.
it looked like Future when he dropped Dirty Sprite. I don't know if y'all know familiar with Future music, but he dropped the album called Dirty Sprite, purple and green. That's what the Milky Way, you know what I'm saying, mixed up. It's like a whole glob, bro.
Hmm.
That shit was so sticky, bro. It's like somebody dipped that shit in caramel for real.
Dude, the weed today is so crazy. Like when we were kids, there was like, you get 4 or 5 different kinds here and there because, occasionally a buddy would take some from his dad or you knew some people to buy some fire from. But these days, every flavor you can imagine. It's like the fucking big kid candy shop. Everything's so fire and tastes so good. And
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
I never thought it'd be like this, dude. I mean, we all dreamed it. My dream was just to make it to Amsterdam one day, so I'd feel like Charlie in the Chocolate
Me
Factory.
Yeah, right.
You
Like
know,
all of our dream were like that, bro. Fuck.
But I mean, I went to Amsterdam a bunch of times. I've been there for fucking weeks on end, smoking everything from every shop, and then I came back in 2010 after a bunch of different European tours for like 2 months, and I went for like 3 different trips, and after that, I realized that America was the new weed tourist spot. Like Amsterdam was cool, but they don't even sell to tourists. Like for many years, I think they just started doing that again. For a while, they outlawed the tourism. I mean, you could still go to like Den Haag and a few other places that would sell weed to people from different countries, but like America became the new mecca for cannabis, hands down.
They destroyed 9,000 pounds somewhere in California about 3-4 days ago.
Yeah, I seen that shit on Instagram, bro. They were
But that
fucking
shit
running that
was
shit
horrible,
over
right?
with spinners and shit.
Boy, that shit made me mad, boy. You know how
Oh
mad.
man, you too, bro. I was like, what the fuck,
Listen,
man?
hey, also country, right? I'm from the bottom now. I'm making my way up, but I'm from the bottom so bad. I was thinking about how the hell could you get the plastic out the tree to save it? And then as soon as I think about that jump, the tractor went to the other side and started tearing it up.
You spun trash back. Yeah, I mean, because they were spitting all that shit out, bro. It was running it over.
Though?
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
Tell the folks I ain't lying, man.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. I seen it on Instagram 4 days ago. Yeah, they were running over with like
pounds.
one of those highway things that they have on the side to get all the brush out. They were fucking running it over. I was like, shit. Huge bags. A big pile.
9,000. See it.
9,000 pounds. Yeah. That's
you ever seen that many pounds before at one time?
No. No. I've seen 350 pounds. That's what I've ever seen.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. It was 3 flavors too. It was a lot, and it was indoor too. So
yeah,
I've seen 1,000 pounds, but a job.
Boy, I ain't never seen that. But most I've seen about 10.
That's still a fair amount of weed, dude. Like, you know, like the only reason I saw that many is I was working with guys that had a bunch of money and they had a bunch of lights, and you know, but most of my garden has been probably 10 or 20. You know, like that's still player shit right there. You know, I mean, most people see a couple of ounces at best. You know, and they're like trying to fit a quarter of a gram in the blunt and call it good. But like 10 pounds is respectable.
Yeah, I've seen a couple 100 pounds back from a while back. That shit gets crazy, but yeah, man, it gets
Especially when you do the outdoor stuff. I mean, I've seen guys with barns full that have thousands of pounds, but on the fucking what we would call, like, instead of black market, we call it traditional market, just to keep the people that would like consider it crime. We just confuse them and call it, you know, traditional market these days. And so, so with that, like, then you've got like the recreational market, right? So, but like with the traditional market now, it's gone even more underground, and I think it's got even more culture than like the old school texture of, like, you know, there was only home grows and people that were doing warehouses off grid and shit. And now these fucking money chads fucking tons of lights up, and they got the science bitch in there next to the watering bitch next to the fucking promotional bitch, and it's just all this money being choked up by these big cannabis gardens, and the weed ain't that good. So it's all about craft homegrown again and keeping your own jars good. And, you know, I love the backbeat stuff.
Yeah.
One of my best memories ever is hanging out with my buddies when we were about 17. And we were just smoking weed all day out in the middle of this field. It was fucking sunny and shit, and we were listening to music all fucking day, dude. And like, you have those moments throughout your life, but this one will always stick out to me. Just fucking like maximum perfect summer day in Seattle, like in Washington area, and we're out on some Amish FloraNugs before it got overdeveloped, like on the plateau, and way back, dude, before like go into like the back end of 2 and 2 and stuff like that. And dude, we were out this huge field listening to fucking beats, and my buddy he's a drummer, and so he made his own hip hop band, and like they're fucking great. I don't know if you ever heard of Project Lionheart. You know, they're not like
Project what? Lionheart?
Yeah, my buddy Caleb, we used to skateboard together, and he's got some good albums. You know, they're not like, he started out playing drums, and he made a band called the Bob Law, and then his influence was just always hip hop. He would play the drums and rap at the same time, and he was fucking great, dude.
Did you have you ever been to an outdoor concert at the Gorge?
Oh yeah, dude, hundreds of times. I love best venue in the whole wide world, and camping at the Wild Horse is the fucking #1 ticket, dude. That spot, but the Wild Horse is the fucking like grown-up adult place to camp. They got a restaurant, clean ass bathrooms, green ass grass. They put out kiddie pools full of water all over the place. And if you ever go back to the Gorge, you gotta camp at the Wild Horse. It literally.
I saw Roger Waters there in like 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. It's pretty good.
Okay. There was a lot of shows that I went to in those times. I've probably been there 100 times, man. Like, it was one of my favorite places in my childhood and in my 20s and 30s. And
I used to go in the 90s. I used to go to Infest over in Kitsap.
Yep. God, that was the 107.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's so great. Shit, man. The Mercer Arena and the Moore Theater used to be super big back before people got.
I used to go to both of those too. Yeah, both of those.
I've seen
and Key Arena.
Shit,
and shit.
Yep, Key Arena was really good. I saw the Beastie Boys in the round there. That was amazing. I've seen Wu-Tang at both the Moore Theater and at the fucking
I saw Slick Rick. Just saw Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh at the Moore Theater.
It looks like you got pictures with a lot of guys that you got to go see. That's fucking dope.
Wow. Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, they're OGs though. They're like, it was dope to be able to see those guys.
Right. the end of an era.
They came out, they had all their gold chains on and shit from the 80s.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, 30 pounds of gold on and shit.
I tell you what, only bettered by Mr. T. That dude's something else. I don't know if you guys know much about Mr. T, but that's one of the people that I definitely fucking
You
love.
better pity a fool.
What about Ric Flair?
Well, Mr. T is just, I don't know if you've ever looked at any or watched any of his interviews, but Mr. T is one of the most inspirational fucking people on this planet. And, like, the dude's a fucking hardcore Christian. He's a hardcore, like, humanist. And he wears this thing. Dude, he wears all that fucking metal to pay homage to his brothers that were brought here in chains. It's not about flashing gold. And, like, it weighs 140 pounds or some shit like that. Like, the dude's an absolute fucking beast, and he's so fucking smart, dude. When he talks, it's like you definitely don't want to interrupt him, and not because he's like, you know, the tough guy, but because he's so calculated and so smart. And I go look at Mr. T interviews on YouTube. The guy's such a fucking bomb. He is such an icon and somebody that like, he's a fucking amazing dude. That's
Right, he's like 90 years old. So.
Yeah, he might be old now, but I'll tell you what, you know, like, you watch him on the A-Team and this and that, and then Rocky movies, and you don't realize that he's this, like, serious fucking voice, dude. Like, Mr. T was, as a kid, my dad's friend was a pastor for, like, the Seahawks, the Mariners, and the Sonics. And so he used to talk about certain people that were, like, really, like, motivational type people. I don't know what the word is. Somebody that was, like, inspiring. That's what I'm looking for. And he always used to talk about Mr. T. And he gave me a couple of VHSs back in the day when I was a kid, you know, like 5 or 6. He said, you gotta watch Mr. T. He's somebody that will teach you about life and make you a strong man. So I've always had this great reverence for fucking Mr. T of all people. People like, really? I'm like, bro, Mr. T is a fucking man. He's a fucking man. So I just, anytime I hear gold chains, I always think about my dude. I'm like, I'd love to meet him someday. I hope somehow, some way. I doubt he's going to.
Howdy Dottie, who likes to party? We got gold teeth. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I think if you like Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, a little better. Mr. T. I think Slick Rick would slap the shit out of Mr. T.
Yeah, I saw Slick Rick at Patriots Place. Let's see.
Yeah.
Small show.
Take one of them gold chains, choke his ass out.
Hey, they didn't make a game with them like they had their gym. Make a game with all the people that ain't signed nobody.
Yeah. No, Mr. T had his day. The A-Team. That was like 50 years ago.
Travis Scott made that song, A-Team.
Yeah, it was called the A-Team. Mr. T and the A-Team. It was like a cartoon in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or a show in the 80s.
Photos of it. You know what I'm saying? Little skits.
Yeah.
I love it when a plan comes together.
That's like Scooby Doo. They were like the grown version of Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
grown version of Scooby Doo.
It was like on at the same time.
I never thought of it like that. Yeah, without the dog.
Dude,
they had a parrot or something, didn't they?
They're
What's
fucking
that?
up the
Did they have a
minds.
bird or something?
Who's that, the A-Team?
Yeah, they had some kind of animal.
I don't think so.
I think they had an animal.
Yeah. I don't think they had any animal.
Who's that?
The A-Team.
I don't know.
I'm finna type it
I
in.
think so.
I gotta see. Google 18.
With Hannibal, Face, Murdoch, and Mr. T. They were like ex-military guys that were on the run, and they helped people that were being like bullied, and they would come to the aid of. It was always some hot chick and her dad, you know, like the fucking A-Team would show up, and there'd be some chick like busting out of her top, like, oh my god, help me. Hannibal would smoke a cigar, they'd weld some metal, get some guns, kick the shit out of whoever was bullying them, and then get paid and be like, we're the A-team, motherfuckers.
Yeah, they had a dog, bro.
Every episode in a quick little sentence there.
They had a
That was a
dog.
fucking sum up everything. Yeah, pretty much every single episode right there.
Pretty much every single one. There's always some welding. There's always some plan that's super sneaky. And,
Yeah, right. Always involves a band. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then Hannibal with a cigar always at the end of every episode says, I love when a plan comes together. And they could never get Mr. T in a plane, so they'd have to knock him out. They'd always give him milk. They'd give him milk with a sedative and knock him out.
Y'all see it?
Yeah, there's a cartoon and a real show.
Yeah, they had both. And yeah, so it's so funny. But the show is great. You know, it's like it's a little bit dry for maybe modern hyper-stimulated humans, but I think that's one that just, you know, there's always some like little filly that's in trouble with her dad, and then the A-team shows up to kick their ass, and so you get like some hottie throughout the whole show, and a bunch of guys that are bad guys that got to get whooped, and the good guy always wins. And if it looks like the A-team's about to lose, then you're going to see those famous words, "to be continued," and you're like, oh, I got to come back.
That's the original A-team right there.
Oh shit! Nice. Is BA shirtless?
No animal.
Yeah, the real life one didn't have an animal. The cartoon one did.
Oh, right. Okay, did they have like a condor?
They might have had a bird.
Yeah, now I know. Okay, I was gonna say in the real show, I was like, did they fucking have an animal? I was tripping. I was like, there's no way those dudes had a
It's a dog with the Mr. T haircut.
Dude, that really?
Yeah, it's like a white ink or something.
Shit, that's too funny. Oh man. Have you guys seen the fucking Mike Tyson cartoons?
Yeah.
Oh my god, the mystery shit with him and the moon. I don't know if I've laughed that hard, and you know, because he's this fucking hardcore, tough as shit motherfucker, and he makes this comedy, not where like they're making fun of him, but they're like belittling his intelligence, and that's kind of like the point, but he's going along. I mean, it's God, dude, that first season is really funny. It's like just, it's such a weird hodgepodge of fake characters, but like it's like the Squidbillies of that kind of comedy. It's yeah, but the A-team, those are good times, man. It's like you would have watched the A-team right after school and would have watched like Wonder Years and Cheers at night.
Oh, Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
Dude, I love that show. My wife and I, like,
it's fucking like, it's 20 minutes away from me, bro.
The bar in Boston?
Yeah, yep.
I've heard it's not like the real bar anymore, but
no, it looks just like it, dude. It's pretty much a fucking perfect replica of it.
Really?
Right next door, yeah, right next door is the ice bar, so you can go to a fucking all ice.
That's fucking great. I'll have to come someday. You know, it's my wife and I were watching this show, The Office, one day, right? And this guy Andy says, "Oh, we're so Sam and Diane." And I asked my wife, I said, "Do you understand that reference?" And she's like, "No, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "You don't know Sam Malone and Diane Chambers?" And she's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Cheers." And she's like, "What?" And so I got to watch, she watched her first episode and like fell in love with it, but with me. So like, that's one of those weird shows for us. It's like, I watched it as growing up as a kid. It was the show that was on right before I had to go to bed. So the music at the end holds like this. Every time I hear it, I'm like, God damn it, I gotta go to bed. Like, and now my daughter at 3.5, every time I put her to bed, she throws the same fit I did as a kid. Like, you think your life's gonna end when you gotta go to bed? Like, just go to fucking bed. Trust me, your ass gotta wake up tomorrow. The world's still gonna be here. You got more shit to do, princess. Don't you worry. Yeah. So, you know, but yeah, that's fucking old school times. FloraNugs, we were watching old videos the other night on YouTube and seeing videos with like Farmer John.
Chocolate milk.
What's that?
You drinking chocolate milk, bro?
Me? I'm drinking water out of a gallon.
You drinking chocolate milk, bro? Sorry. That was classic, bro. My bad.
I thought chocolate milk.
Oh,
Good,
shit.
man. He's like, yo, of all things, you chocolate milk, bro? The fuck?
He was wishing. He's like, man, please tell me you can share that
Yeah.
50 green. Here's half a gallon, my dude. No
I'm
problem.
thirsty too, but you ain't lying.
He was hoping that it was a gallon of chocolate milk and that I could share it. That'd be great if it was like Wonka Vision from Charlie and Chocolate.
Oh, right. Send
I
that
could
bitch
just,
over.
yeah, I'll go get like extra gallons and we will have a fucking chocolate milk. That now that sounds so good.
I'm like, here's this dab. Here, you guys try this dab out.
That'd be
Yeah,
sick, dude.
right. I was talking to my wife about this earlier though tonight. Like, okay, so everybody's always like, man, I wish Instagram had smell-o-vision. I was like, all you would smell on the lives is dirty ass breath from every single person who just got home and was like, oh, sorry, dude, I just got home to do the live, and you'd be like, oh fuck, I gotta go brush my teeth. I'll be right back, you know. So
He's
it's
like,
just
here, like, oh fuck, man.
yeah,
This smell like how many blunts you just smoked? With those roaches in there? Oh
I'm
shit.
drinking coffee and eating dog turds. Like, what the fuck?
That's
So, yeah, smell-o-vision's good until it comes to that.
It's good until it's not, right?
I guess you'd be able to turn it on and off, but it was just one of those thoughts that I had. I was like, man, nobody really has time to, like, I hate to say print before the live, but like that's the last thing on your mind. You're like talking to a piece of fucking plastic. So it's such a surreal world. Like this time,
I think it's actually possible though. You know,
we'll see. You know, Willy Wonka said it was. I'm getting a computer, by the way. My buddy Sal's gonna send me some Lenovo or something. It's all extra memory and blah blah blah. But I'll be able to do like probably better connection and stuff in the future. So, and I'm sorry I forgot about the show tonight. I got to work late and shit, but yep, I'm gonna start live on Instagram here in a second.
Yeah, I sent off all the duck stuff this week.
I got to get a bunch of duck stuff out Monday. My hat can go nowhere. I got a lot of shipping to do Monday, and then I've got a bunch of people I got to catch up with. Is it tomorrow? Holy shit! Maybe Tuesday. Fuck. I got to stay up all night and get. I got it ready, but man, I got so many duck races I got to send out, and then you got to get like all the addresses, and it's a lot of work. Because then sometimes you get the address without a name, or you get the address without a zip code, and I'm always willing to guess on the zip code because Google Maps is usually pretty smart, and so is the post office. But then people are like, "Oh shit! Well, I moved from there 2 minutes ago, and I have a new address," and you're like, "Fuck." All right, so. Do you want to do a couple duck races tonight?
We could do one, but we only have 9 people watching, so.
Oh, well, thank you for the 9 people that are watching. So the duck race, we give away seeds, right? And so for everybody that's in the chat or in the live, you type a ducky in the chat, and so then we put your name on a list, and that list generates there's a little screen with say a bunch of ducks lined up on one side, and you choose an amount of time that the race is, and the ducks swim through this little pool. So you hit start, and all these rubber duckies on the computer try to swim to the finish line, and somebody wins, and when that person wins, they win a free pack of seeds. So we jazz up the end of the lives with duck races, and it makes people feel accomplished and loved, and it's an awesome thing. So basically,
if you want to do one, I don't know how many people are in the U.S. that are in chat. But.
Yeah, only people in the U.S. Only people in the U.S. Oh man. Today I got to bring home all the new 2 Hawks crosses, or at least the remainder of the stuff on the line, but there's so much cool shit, man. I got 10 new crosses.
How many people want to do a duck?
Duck.
Gotta be in the USA, and winner is shipping.
I retweeted on my Twitter. I retweeted the live.
Winner buys breeder a new car.
Yep, that's it. Or you send a tow. $10, and then you get your pack shipped, and you get some stickers.
Or that.
So,
all right, so let's see here. Put a duck in. What do you got? What do you got to send them?
I will do a pack. Everybody loves sour diesel, so let me just do a pack of the 10 feathers, which is sour diesel with my 2 hawks, and I'll give you some of my Fuck Yeah America stickers. God, it's hard with a mirroring camera, but there's the Fuck Yeah America slaps. Because we love to smoke some weed. Yeah, damn it. I'll tell you what. I've been to probably 10 or 12 different countries. I'm so glad that God put me here. Whew.
So.
Oh, but the computer is weird. I ain't know the computer do all this, but the computer weird.
All right, so we got well, Spud Shady. Get some people to get over here and enter some duck race. I'm gonna start collecting names. We got Red. We got CW. Bushmaster, no duck for me. Well, he's yeah, I got YG Guala in here. We got YG Guala. We got Spud Shady. Shady.
What's up, boys? How are you guys?
We got 4
in the house. Coonward in the house. 4. We got YG Gula.
Let's see here, the Big Kush.
So you know, Coonward. That's his
Jay
name.
Hollis. Rose, whoever, you guys got to put a duck. If you want a duck, you got to put a duck in there now.
Conversation, we should practice that. Yeah, giving in when you're giving back. Bring more than cares than my whole life. Just a whole life. Gotta tell your dog to shake.
Let's give him about 5 minutes to put a duck in.
Yep, that sounds right.
I'll give him till 11:30 to put a duck in, and then I'm going to. In the meantime, I'm gonna take a dab.
Yep. But I'll be doing lives here soon.
Let it go. Look like another love. T.A.O. I think you better let it go. I think you better let it go. It could be worse, it could be better. It could be better. It could be worse, it could be better. It could be better. It could be worse, it could be better. It could be worse, it could be better.
I can't imagine what it's like to say you write a song that's super intense and that you're trying to thug the fuck out and you have some meaning and you got beef with somebody but then you go to the studio and if you're with your buddies and you're smoking and people are fucking around and being playful, it's gotta be really hard to record a song at that point when you're like, dudes, I'm trying to work here and you're making me fucking laugh, and I can imagine that shit gets fucking entertaining.
Yeah, I'll put it in the song.
Yeah, there you go. It's just one of those things. I'm trying to fucking deal with.
What are they racing for?
A pack called 10 Feathers. It's a cross of sour diesel and my 2 hawks. It's really fucking beautiful. And you'll get a couple of the America stickers, the Mr. Spliff Fuck Yeah slaps. These ones are 3-inch stickers. They're a little bit too big for the lighter, but I think I might have a couple of the 2-inch ones that fit the lighter. Oh yeah, I got. Damn, I actually have a lot more than I thought I did.
Well, you You on just streaming media, or you got physical CDs? You got any old like CDs?
In a couple about a week or two, I'm gonna be mailing out CDs again. I was mailing them out a couple months ago of like a short album that I dropped back in June. OTW 11. I had like 7 tracks, but I'm gonna put them on CD so you get like them 7 plus 5 to 6 more extra never heard or not, but it's gonna be on CD and I'm mailing them out to sign.
Man, that shit's gotten so expensive to print on CDs lately.
Hell
My
nah.
wife does. It's
Hell
fucking
nah.
like
print it yourself, do it yourself.
Right, but even then, just the programs and the stuff that you have to buy every year. Like you used to be able to buy it once, and now you got to license the shit every year, and like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Like they keep taking it out of our hands. Fucking pen. Uh-oh, I'm losing my fucking shit. Oh, it's right in front of me. That's why I lost it. Holy shit. Oh man. All right. I need to package seeds. I need to break weed down. Fuck.
Break it down.
I gotta be careful though. A lot of this shit stinks so fucking bad that if I open the bag in the house, like legitimately it's gonna smell like 3 fucking doors down. And I gotta wait until like the very middle of the night to do some of these flavors because they fucking stink so fucking bad. I need
Big bad.
All seeded. Seeds. Dude, it stinks through 2 turkey bags full of vicinity. Damn.
Let go of that stress. Let go of that stress. Put your mind on something else. Let go of that stress. Let go of
Damn, that weed reeks. Holy shit.
Let go of that stress.
Do we got anybody in here for duckies? Other ducky people. Bromies, homies, I think
I'll
I
be
got
right back.
something for you tomorrow. Red filterings are looking good. Probably start seeing roots here any day. And then I'll probably throw them in cups with a little bit of soil because I generally move them that way.
What's the fastest you ever grew a plant?
What's that, man?
What's the fastest you ever seen a plant grow or grew one?
As far as like vegetative or flowering?
The whole bud, smoke and all.
So there's certain varieties that like can finish in about 7 weeks. So like, you know, just under 50 days. Most of the stuff I grow is like 9 weeks, and that's where I think a lot of the like Kushes and Chem Dogs and like cookies and sour diesels. Some sours go a little bit longer, but that's that sweet spot of like the stuff we like real gas, dude. Like that fucking. I don't know what it is about gas, but I could smoke the shit all day long, right?
Yeah, back to back.
Fucking coffee, big fat cup of coffee, and just fucking. I smoke
gas, bro. I don't need nothing. Gas, little water, Kool-Aid. I'm straight. I don't even want to eat. I smoke for lunch.
You see, I smoke spliffs, so I put like tobacco in my joints, and I roll big fucking 3 grammers, and so it's very similar.
Why you put tobacco in the weed, man? That Gabba shit they be talking about. Why you do that?
What the blunt paper is tobacco, so what's the difference?
No, but no, I don't want to hear that. Listen, you smoking twice.
Man, I've been smoking spliffs for 12 years.
But listen, though, I'm trying to understand. Like, let me explain. I know this guy. They do that when they smoke.
You telling me you're smoking swag?
I think that like it makes the weed taste better. My weed is better than anybody's weed in the country, hands down. My weed is stupid fire. But I went to Europe the first time in 2000.
You're smoking that regular shit.
Uh-oh. But in 2006, I went to Europe for the first time, and that's where people like I'd never smoked with tobacco. I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? They're like, dude, we only smoke spliffs. I'm like, what? We got to smoke pure. They're like, no, we don't do that here. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I started trying it, and then I fell in love with it, and that's why I'm Mr. Spliff, is because I like tobacco with my
So
weed.
what it do? Tell me what it do then. What's the difference than me smoking a regular blunt?
So, well, I don't really prefer a blunt. I like, like the papers that are like rolls that you can make your own length.
Uh-huh.
So I like those because I can make them a little bit longer and get like 3 grams. And say if I'm using like 3 grams of weed, I'm using like, I buy the American Spirit organic cigarettes and I'll use like half of one. And so for me, first off, it lightens the high just enough to where I can smoke a bunch of them and keep working. Because if you smoke a half ounce in a day, you can be fucking asleep quickly. I got shit to do. So the spliff is a little bit more up, and the contrast of flavor, I swear I can taste the weed differently, and I love it. And at first, it took me a long time to get used to it, but it's like once you start smoking blunts, you can try and roll a joint, but you are not happy the same way as if you have your regular mama, right? And so for me, smoking a spliff, it doesn't have to be heavy tobacco, but just that mix is fuck, dude. I don't know why. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I would have never expected to, but it's one of those things I learned. I picked it up in Germany and in Amsterdam, and I can't stop. Won't stop.
All right, so people got to look at the list there. If you don't see your name on there, and you're in America and you want to be on the duck list, put your duck in chat.
Put your motherfucking duck in the chat. Yep, exactly. Lord, it's gonna be the 10 feathers. Duck, 12 acres.
You gotta be in America. You gotta be in America too. So this thing, and you pay for shipping.
You gotta speak American. Okay. God, I saw some funny shit from Dave Chappelle's early days. I can't remember what the fuck it was. God, dude, he's killing me. What's his name when he's in the Nutty Professor? Is it Reggie? Dave Chappelle, he does the stand-up comedy, and Eddie Murphy's clowning on him, telling him his hair is like fucking terrible. He's like all pissed, but dude, he's so funny in that shit. Oh my god. Got the Kung Fuies. It's really too bad what happened to his show. The first 2 seasons of Chappelle's show were so fucking.
Browse you in the duck race or no?
What's that?
Oh, Browse 725. Does he want to be in the duck race or no?
Do you want to be in the duck race? Duck race.
Are you American? You're American. Gotta put a duck in there. Okay.
Puppy doggy.
CE.
Bus, get up. You puppy dog. Tomorrow we're gonna go out and go for a run, Phoebe. Huh? You wanna go for a run tomorrow? Don't you look at me like we're going for a run right now, because we sure as fuck aren't. Not this time of night.
All right. So, think we waited long enough, or should we wait for more entries?
For sure. I just want to always make sure I give away at least 1 pack per night. I'm happy to do more, but. So I'm doing this charity thing here soon for my buddy up here in the Seattle area. He's had some serious medical situations, and I'm going to do a 50-pack raffle. It'll be a $100 entry, and I'm going to give away a pack for every person that enters. So no matter what, they're going to get a pack of seeds, and then the final prize is going to be like 30 packs of seeds. And so I'm probably going to do that here in like the next, I don't know, like week or so. So that's going to be going on. I got to talk to Clutch and Mace. I'm sure they can put the word out too and help me raise it. But I'm going to do 30 packs of seeds, and I'm hoping to go and see Jay before that time, and then I'll pay for some of those packs, and that way I can have those too. But I should be able to help you move those pretty quick. I really need to get on that. So don't feel bad about telling me, like, hey, fucker, you said you're going to go get those and handle that shit. And I would like it if you went and handled that shit because you said to
Get
me.
the duck race going. Get the duck race going, and we'll start talking.
Yep. So yeah, I will go see Jay this week because I have time. My main priority was to get all the seeded weed down and home and handled. So it's bucked and handled outside of a few. But now that that's done, I can go up and see Jay. I'll bring him some seeds and some fanciness. Smoke some weed with him and grab the packs, and then we'll figure out some kind of
duck.
Whoa. I don't know how representative of Spud that duck really is. I mean, we got double standard rubber duckies down below, and then we've got Mohawk ducky, purple ducky. What's the red duck? Is that like a Thanksgiving duck? No, it's just a red duck.
Alien duck on the top.
Yeah, I saw the alien duck. Ned Denver, I did see a DM from you. I will get back to you. I couldn't open it where I was at because my reception sucked, but I did see a DM from you, and I will get back to you, brother. Just sometimes suck it. I need to get Wi-Fi where I work.
You don't want to go too early, though.
That's what she said. I cannot help but like, yeah, that's one's burned into my head.
Yeah.
There's a few times I've gotten my wife with that in public, and like when we've been out at dinner, and she fucking. My wife's so much fun because if I can get her laughing, she's very. Once I've got her laughing, it's easy to keep her laughing, and she loves it. That's what she said. She loves that shit. We got the Bobby Duck alien duck. Is that a pan? What's Red Pill's duck? Is it a football duck?
It's like a Dracula duck.
Red Pill's duck. It looks. He's all weird.
Looks like Dracula. It looks like Dracula to me. Like a vampire. Like a vampire.
Is this your first duck race to watch?
Oh damn! Red Pill has 2 ducks. So Reddish Pill doesn't count. If Reddish Pill wins, Reddish Pill doesn't count.
Okay, there you go. It was the dab, dude. I'm gonna take a dab real quick, and then we'll get this race going. Now, them cold starts, dude. Now that you got the cold start tech, I'm glad that I had Shiloh to back me up on that, so we could convert you.
I don't know if I'm converted yet.
Wait until you get a nice banger and some fucking fire rosin, and you do that cold start, dude. Oh, and the cap swimming, and all you get is perfect puddles of vapor and yum yum, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, I did not know hash could be like this." And the American cannabis market is dude. It's all these trustafarians that like figure out how to make hash just next fucking level. You know, they got the money to sit around with their motherships and like 50-gram buckets of the best rosin you've ever seen, and the whole day to like wear fine clothing and take nice dabs while eating wagyu. And they're like, no, we're gonna tech it up and do this, or we're gonna make that. And like dabbing rosin has gone to a whole new level. And go figure that at first people were like, fuck rosin, or if your hash butters, it's yucky. I'm like, wait, what? And now it's just like the stuff that people would have called poop soup, 6-7 years ago is now like the most fire looking shit ever.
Spud Shady gonna do it?
Oh, dude, that's what I'm talking about. I know right where to get that one too as well. Like he would say at this point, who's wearing the clown suit now? Let me get that on the list. Brand new. Spud Shady, 10 others.
Nice. 10 others. 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 10 o
Duck races. Look at those winners' waters. You know, like so the duck that wins, he gets to swim around all by himself for a little bit. Gets to look fucking cool, and people are like, "Damn, I wish my name was on that duck that's swimming by himself." Because that duck that's swimming by himself is a seed duck.
Oh, by his duck?
Yeah.
Oh, a duck looks like clown? Yeah. Clown duck.
Sponge shady duck. You want to run one more?
You got something? Give away? You got more shit?
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Let's just reset it and run it. Take Spud off there because he won this one.
Actually, you know what? I got to
get rid of reddish pill as well.
Get rid of reddish pill. Yeah.
You got yourself on there since it's my pack.
No, I could do that though. I could put.
I'll do this one for the Sky Child, the Chem 91 crossed with 2 Hawks.
All right.
Such gappy young nose.
Let's check out these ducks. We got some new ducks.
Woo! And after this,
I like the strawberry duck. The strawberry duck looks cool.
I got to do some lives after this and try to make some cheddar.
Like a Spider-Man duck.
Bobby duck. There's like a Bobby duck and then a YMCA duck and then another like British Royal Guard duck.
It looks like a couple of British ducks.
Yeah, one of them looks a little like.
We got Mr. Slay. Red Pill looks like Mr. Slay from The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly what I was kind of getting at. I was like, yeah, that duck doesn't look so much like law enforcement, but leather enforcement. The strawberry duck I've never seen before. That hair is next level.
I like strawberry duck.
Can you imagine with all the big business and world-changing shit that's going on right now, and we get to just be like faded looking at all these beautiful ducks? These digital fucking ducks swimming through the digital water, and we're enthralled. We're like fucking ducks. The weird pockets of the internet, right?
Well, whoever thought we'd go from playing Super Mario Brothers to looking at virtual ducks?
That's exactly it. And literally, this is also like promotional type stuff for the business at the end of the
We
day.
used to shoot these ducks in duck hunt.
Yep.
Little dog would come out and laugh at us and shit.
Bump-da-bump-da-bump. Bump-da-bump-da-bump. You know what we would do is we would saw the end of the duck hunt gun off, and then you could point that shit anywhere. Duck was always dead every time. You could point it at the wall behind you. Duck was dead. It didn't have the focus mirror on it. It went everywhere in the room, and so we learned real quick in our life that the sawed off worked. Real nice. Hi, Phoebe.
Duck, goose. You should be able to have gooses and shit like that, and chickens and.
Yeah, you know, I've thought about like how interactive could you make it, where like if each person that was participating had a voice activation to their duck, and the more they said quack, the faster the duck swam. For 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they'd have to say quack so many fucking times. Can you imagine? Dude, exhausted. They'd fucking earn the seeds hard at that point, dude. Like, quack, quack, fucking quack. We got to do things like this at a fair where we have like ducks race across the pool and people on bikes trying to pedal their duck to victory. Charge them to race against each other. It'd be like real life video games. I'm gonna do that shit. Take it to Portland where there's like a bunch of people that ride their bicycles all day and have them race each other. You could, oh man, lefties racing lefties. Hi Phoebe. Hi Pitbull Dog. You're such a good. Oh my goodness. My dog is about to turn 6. Phoebe, are you there? 6 years old? Is that right? Are you really about to be a 6-year-old pit bull dog? Fair enough. See if I can show off the dog. No, that's not the right one.
Ooh, Gromies. Gromies, homies.
All right. As you can see, my name is fitting. Okay, Gromies home. Sweet. I already got one going out to you, right? Let me check the duck list. The duck list. I can just write. I think, yep, you're number one on the list. I can add your pack to that, so you're getting Sky Child as well. I think that's the right one. Let me write it down. Gromies homies. Damn it, I misspelled it. Z. Do you remember these little toys, homies, back in the day?
What was it?
Does anybody remember the little toys, the little like vatos that you could get the homies? They were in the quarter machines. No, yes. They were like little gangsters, little
no.
like plastic figurines.
Oh, he left?
Maybe so. Okay, so I got that one written down. And that's for the Sky Child. Okay. Okay, dokie. Let's see here. I assume we've got everybody in here. Let's see here.
I need to get going to sleep anyway. Let me stop sharing this.
Yep, I'm gonna take my I'm gonna go get a couple things to munch, and then I'm gonna start the lives and bust ass all night, and then go and do some gardening tomorrow. Huh, Phoebe? So Shiloh's the lead breed at Dying Breed.
Yeah, he was one of the big dogs there.
Right, there's
And
him
then,
and
they split apart, I guess, and now it's he's got his own things, Massive Creations.
Okay.
Massive Seeds, maybe. Sorry, wait. There's two of them. I don't want to mix it up. Hang on. Yeah, Massive Creations is him, I believe. Yep.
Yep, I know a lot of stories like that where it's just no wonder he could relate. Yeah. Just been through so much of it, man. There's so many people pulling each other different ways, and a lot of different beliefs and a lot of different feelings about things, and especially if you have spiritual or political differences, and then it just grows from there. But yep, let's see here. It's okay, Cryptic. I'm about to go live, my dude. I'm gonna go live on my my PNW.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get off here because I gotta get up at 6. So I'll see you guys later.
We'll talk to you later, my dude.
You guys have a good night. Everybody in chat, thanks for coming by. Shiloh, thanks for coming by. Guala, thanks you for coming by. yeah, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Might have a show in the middle of the week, sometimes randomly, but if not, Sunday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Peace.